What if these things can read our minds?
This is a safe sex zone.
Simple, beautiful fish.
Good night, campers.
Turn on, tune in, talk movies. Welcome to the Video Cult.
It's subliminal mixtapes, it's chocolate orange juice, it's beyond Lamaze and self-actuating without the male lens. Welcome to the Video Cult.
See, those are masculine authority concepts. I wish you wouldn't be so afraid to embrace your own gender.
Suck my dick.
Okay, welcome back. Once again, we are here to talk about the weirdest and quite popular, especially for this one. That's why I'm all thrown off. I'm like,
this movie
I'm getting ready to talk about it, and I'm like, oh shit, this fucking movie. But we're back. We have an actual name now. I don't know if you noticed in the first few episodes, we really avoid branding ourselves too hard. But we finally did decide on the Video Cult, which you would have heard in our intro. So once again, welcome to the Video Cult for the 5th time now. I am Josh Carmody. As always, I'm joined by Nathan Stone.
Hello.
And once again, we also have Gabrielle Hill Desjardins. So you're basically Video Cult royalty at this point. You get 2 episodes in a row.
2 episodes in a row. You know, maybe I'm here to say. I'm like a leech. You know, I just attach something and I suck the life out of it. Almost like the subject of this film today.
A little bit. Yeah, that was a great segue.
Similar. Although I'm confused about whether or not they're getting the life sucked out of them or they're getting like pumped up into rage monsters, horny rage monsters.
Horny rage monsters.
So, we did end up doing, as we announced on the last episode, if you didn't listen to that one, we did the Unborns from 1991. I have some IMDb stuff here in front of me. I didn't recognize any of the people that worked on this movie, except for a couple of, some of the actors and actresses, and we'll get into that. But as far as the director, Rodman Flender, I'm going to take a look. Very recent photo of himself. Oh, he directed for The Office, did Conan O'Brien Can't Stop, and this.
And you are forgetting, like, the masterpiece. It should be on the Criterion Collection. Idle Hands.
Oh, he directed Idle Hands?
He did.
Oh, shit.
He did, with a very seemingly, I think, underage Jessica Alba.
That would make sense for that time period, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you think she was in Sin City several years. That was like 2003.
Yeah. I mean, but also another fun fact, he's Timothy Chalamet's uncle.
Oh, okay. When you said Timmy C, I was like, is this some pop star I'm too old to know about?
Well, you know, for the young kids, they might like him. Or unless you're like half of New York, you know him infamously for, you know, getting the clap. So this is not page 6 or page 7. This is not. Although we would like a podcast about that.
Oh, if it's celebrity gossip?
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, just a quick update. We didn't update the last couple times too much. Well, Gabby did, having gone on a wild adventure to Cape Breton or New Brunswick or wherever it was.
Yes.
But I don't know, Nathan, is anything new and exciting going on with you?
Yeah, a couple of things. First off, I had a lovely weekend up at a winery in the Annapolis Valley. Beausoleil Winery, shout out to them. They're great husband and wife team. They're kind of a micro winery. And they have a farm stay. We stayed with them. I shot a little kind of promotional video for them while I was there, and had a great time. Came back with like 3 cases of wine. It's not okay. We already had too much wine, and now we have way too much wine. And
I don't have too much wine.
Okay,
so
well there we go.
Need to get rid of some.
Yeah. Thank you for the offer. Of my wine. Yeah, we had this conversation though where he was like, should we share some of this? We have so much. Like it was broached like, you know, kind of one of those tentative subjects, just like, hun, I think we need to talk about this wine. Do we have to share this now? Do we have to have people over and they get to drink some of our wine? It was very tense. So the other thing that happened was, I can give the audience a little bit of a peek behind the curtain on this episode. Gabby is hosting us very graciously today. And this is the first time that I have been to Gabby's place. And I accidentally home invaded someone on the way. So there's a street that turns onto this street, and the signs are a little bit crossed. So I thought that street was her street. And it had, I saw the right house number, the door was open. She had told me the door was going to be open. So I walk in, I'm like, hey, I'm here. And all I can hear is this old guy talking on the phone, like upstairs. And I look around and there's like a bunch of hockey stuff on the wall. There's all sorts of like little children's toys. And I'm like, am I in the right house? Oh my God, am I in the right house?
Yeah.
And then so I hear him upstairs and he's like, hold on, I think someone's at the door. And comes downstairs and I was like, hi. So I'm looking for Gabrielle, but I think I might have just broke into your home. And
did you say it that way?
Yeah. Because at this point I was like, oh no, I realized immediately like I had made a mistake. And he was a very, very sweet old man. And I was like, I'm looking for this street. And he's like, oh yeah, like that's just the next street over. You're fine. And I was like, I'm sorry for breaking into your house. He's like, don't worry about it. And I was like, thanks. I appreciate that.
I'm sorry about breaking into your house.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You're like stuffing the silver into your
your
backpack.
You're also lucky this wasn't Texas because people have been getting shot for that recently.
Yeah. So I'm glad that I eventually found your house. So thank you again for hosting. But yeah, that's kind of what's new with me. What about you?
I'll get into it. I do love that you admitted that you had that moment of like, should we share the wine? Because I love that because like once you get a lot of something and then you're like, oh, but I could share some of this. But then that's really just for you to fantasize about sharing it so that you can feel good. That's just for you. Then you drink it all yourself.
Like I can pretend not to be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's the fantasy. And then in real life I'm just like, but people though.
Yeah.
And my wine.
It's mine.
It's mine.
Yeah.
Gotta sit on that gold hoard. I love this juxtaposition of I also went for a drinking experience with my dad. Me and my dad went out and he was like, you want to go shoot some pool? Let's go to Dooley's. And I was like, yes. But I can't do what we did last time, which was go on Boxing Day, and I didn't remember how I got home. So we went there at like lunchtime on Boxing Day, and I do remember when we left the Dooley's, it was still daytime in winter. So, and then I don't remember getting home, but I did somehow.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to record this podcast tomorrow, so I can't be going too hard, but we'll go. And he was like, okay, yeah, let's go. So we walked up to Dooley's from his place. It's a few blocks away. And we're playing pool, and we smoked a joint together, and we're drinking. As soon as he smoked a joint, everything started going downhill. So he would go, every time he went to get another beer, he was like, do you need one? And I'm like, no, I'm like halfway through this one. I'm good. And he'd come back. He kept, because I'm shit at pool, and he, even in this state, is still really, really good. So he kept changing the rules. He was like, let's play different types of games. So we're just playing normal, like high-low. And then he decides to switch it. It's like, okay, no, let's do a countdown. So we keep shooting for the same ball. But then as soon as I would shoot, he'd go to the table and he'd be back on the other game again. And I'd be like, okay, but I think we're shooting for the 13. Like, oh, okay, yeah. So he just kept resetting. And then I was like, okay, do you want to actually do countdown? Okay. And then he started doing high-low. He kept thinking he was getting set up for all these great shots. So it was impossible to keep track of what he was doing. Then when we left, I brought the balls up to the counter and I put them on the counter and he's leaving. And I was like, oh, we have to pay. And he's like, no, it's fine. We paid. And he walks outside and I start going towards home. He goes the other way and he's like, no, the car's over here. And I was like, no, we walked here. Well, I walked with you like a couple hours ago.
Also, I don't think
even if the car was here, we'd walk home. So we eventually did manage to get out of there and go back home. I get a text at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, no.
Did I pay for the pool? I was like, you told me you did, and I inquired. I was like, are you sure? And he checked his bank stuff. He did not. We just fucking pieced out of there real hard.
Yeah.
So that was my adventure yesterday.
Sorry, Dooley's.
Yeah, he's gonna go back down and pay today. He goes there every once in a while, so I don't think he wants to not be able to go back.
Exactly.
But yeah, good stuff. I'm glad that it was him who did it this time and not me. Gabby, what's new with you?
Okay. So sort of the reason why we switched venues is because I had a surgery last night. I was fine. I went to bed. I woke up this morning in my bathtub full of ice and my liver's gone.
Oh,
you know what?
I hate that.
You know?
They at least gave you another shitty one, though, to keep going.
It wasn't even inserted in me. It was just...
the homeless person they're trying to turn into a super soldier, they took that liver and gave it to you.
Yeah. But no, actually, in all seriousness, I had a breast reduction. I've always had bigger than normal boobs. And normally when I say that, people are like, "Oh, I'm so jealous, I always wanted big boobs." I'm like, okay, these are like the nice, perky big boobs. These are like the saggy grandmother boobs.
Yeah, the grass is always bigger on the other side.
Exactly. So, I've always had lower back pain. I've always had like body dysmorphia, and actually like taking off the bandages and having a look, they look great. They look great.
Excellent.
They're smaller.
That's good that they go for style. They don't just scoop a bunch of shit out and leave you to your own devices.
Yeah, no. But no, they look good. In all seriousness, I'm extremely happy. I'm like, I see myself in a body that I think I was supposed to have. And also like, I hate when people like, I used to be like this, but when people like hate on like plastic surgery. Do what you want. But sometimes I think like plastic surgery is great, especially for like trans people who don't see themselves initially in the body that they want for themselves. So yeah, trans people are our friends, and if you don't agree, you will catch these hands.
Okay, you looked at me during that.
Yeah, I don't know, you're just in my line of sight.
Going on record, I love the trans community.
Yeah.
I do actually have a trans brother, so.
Oh, nice.
Now that we got all that fucking woke shit out of the way, let's talk about this fucking... Let's get into this
woke shit out of the way. We're gonna talk about women's bodies and shit.
Which is funny, I made that joke first, because all through my 20s, I was like, who fucking puts content warnings on things? Who fucking... don't put a fucking trigger warning on it. The whole point of art is to be, like, fucking surprised and shocked. And I'm like, the whole time on the way over here, I was like, oh, I'm doing a trigger warning at the beginning of this one. Yeah. I'll throw it right out there. Content... and spoilers for other people, pretty much everyone who dies in this movie is either pregnant or a baby. So if you're not cool with that and you don't want to get into weird pregnancy gone wrong shit, and you probably already thought of that beforehand, you might not want to get into this one. So actually, right up front, trigger warning.
I'm going to reverse that. Fuck them kids. No. But content warning is the side. Women do get hurt.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, The Unborn, circa 1991. My very first note is, what am I looking at behind this title card? It took me a second to realize that this was a baby in the womb, just like extreme close-ups on the nose, the mouth, the little hands. I found it weird, and there's quite a few areas of this movie where I was a little disturbed by it, and honestly, the opening, I was like, wow, it's already doing it for me.
Yeah, I loved this, the background images of this. Also, dope fucking soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely one where I usually am like, it's like a diet version of fucking John Carpenter.
Excuse me, it's like a diet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But usually when it's in this vein, I say like it's kind of like John Carpenter. It's in that, but it's like as good. I found I was really into the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Soundtrack also Gary Newman, who did the song Cars. Here in my car. That's who did the soundtrack. And the soundtrack is like the score is available on certain releases of his.
All right.
Because I the whole time I kept thinking, I was like, there needs to be a vinyl of this. We need a vinyl of this soundtrack. But yeah, I loved the opening visuals.
Mm-hmm.
I always loved the kind of science run amok movies, and they usually start in this way where it's cells dividing and newspaper clippings or some shit, but it's just like snake cam into the womb of a baby's face. Like, pretty crazy shit.
Yeah, deeply unsettling. I want to know where they got my mom's ultrasounds of me.
They seemed so much more invasive than an ultrasound, though. That's why I said snake cam. I was like,
exactly.
It's like the baby's like batting the camera away. Like, fucking get out of here.
Our opening scene is with a pregnant woman. She is downstairs late at night getting a snack from the kitchen.
Oh, the blood dripping
Janet.
on the floor.
Yeah,
is pretty fucking great.
Yeah, it kind of pulls a fast one on you because you see the blood drip first, and then you see her holding a giant plate of just meat.
Oh, this meat platter was fascinating.
I was like,
what is this? Like, it was like a roast chicken, but it was like red, and then like there was just like these like little like cubes of meat, and I was like,
it was. It looked like something from like a Sears catalog display.
Yeah,
it was like it was like something meant to be dispersed as charcuterie. It was like meat cut into different shapes along with just a giant indiscriminate hunk of an animal
Yeah,
on this
yeah.
plate that's also like really bloody.
Yeah.
Very bloody. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not wrapped. This was still the era of when people just fucking unhinged, put shit in the fridge without wrapping it, wrapping stuff. And maybe this is just a movie thing to make stuff faster, but I find you see that in a lot of movies where they're just putting like uncovered meat into the fridge. Like, this chicken will be fine like 24 hours from now.
That's an ick for me.
Oh yeah.
That's an ick.
And her husband comes down and is like, what are you doing? But like playfully.
Yeah.
Does not question the fact that she's just like mowing uncooked red meat.
Honestly, that just said to me, this is the norm for them.
Yeah.
Like, this is her diet right now. You know,
She has
this
a-
is what she has the cravings for.
She's
yeah.
actually on like that Liver King diet, you know, like the guy
Oh,
who eats
yeah.
nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Take shitloads of steroids and lie about eating raw meat.
Yeah.
That diet.
That's her diet. So she's like just pumping like shit at the gym.
Which would explain why the baby like punches its way out of her a few minutes later.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, they have this little scene in the kitchen, and they go upstairs, and things start getting a little frisky.
Which is in the most fucked up way possible. Because he's like...
He's kicking.
He's been so active tonight.
Maybe he wants to come out and play.
I was like,
my God.
what are we doing? Like, what? No.
I had to write that quote down because it was so like I was just like, well, you killed my boner at least.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about anyone else.
Yeah, I'm gonna give birth to our own unicorn over here. Did not understand that at all.
I'm now with that taken into context, I think what happens next is self-defense by the child, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because she starts getting cramps and pains, and they get very intense, and he's kind of by her side, and he's like, oh no, like what do I do? What
do I do?
Do I call someone? And yes, that would be a good idea.
I do. I call 911. Do I tell them where we live? No, I'm gonna spell my fucking name.
Yeah. And we get so she's writhing in pain, and all of a sudden we get a bit of an explosion of blood under the covers.
Yeah.
And then she just dies, just straight up.
Yeah.
And then we hear our first of many baby crying audio effects for this movie.
Yeah, I wrote "Let's fucking go" when that happened because I was like, "This movie did not waste any time." I forgot about this opening, so just so everyone knows, I did see this probably 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm the only one who's seen it before, but it's been a minute, so I totally forgot about that opening. But again, I do want to go back to the fact that this guy is like, oh no, my wife needs help, and again is spelling their name instead of giving the address. The address has not been mentioned yet. He's like spelling the name as her stomach is exploding under the covers. But yeah, I wrote "Let's fucking go." So where do we end up next?
Mm-hmm. So this is where we actually meet our characters for the movie. We meet Brad and Virginia. And they're getting out of the car at a fertility clinic.
Which I do have to mention, it looks like a corporate building. It doesn't look like a clinic to me. It looks like the building from Office Space.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're expecting like Ron Livingston to sort of walk across and go in.
Another team is there shooting fucking B-roll for the X-Files.
Exactly. This is not really a place.
Yeah, so they there's a quick smoke break as we see Virginia has a couple of vices that aren't normally associated with moms, and she's going to have to tackle with them throughout the movie.
Unless she's from Quebec, then every mom smokes
in
Quebec.
There we go. And then, so we get inside, and they take a seat, and that's where we meet Connie here.
Love Connie.
So Connie is one half of a couple of Connie and Gloria.
Wait. They're just friends.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah. This is 1991. So they are friends.
So they are quote unquote friends.
Mm-hmm. They are friends going together to the fertility clinic.
Exactly.
Because they are friends that are wanting a baby together, as friends do.
Yeah.
I know I've had this conversation with many friends.
It's the 90s, man.
Yeah.
It's also Kathy Griffin. Let's not gloss over that. Kathy Griffin is one half of this couple.
Yes.
I didn't recognize the other actress. But she looks like Demi Moore in Ghost.
Yeah.
A little bit,
pretty much spot on.
Yeah. But the whole vibe, straight off, it just reminds me of okay, this is what I think the 90s would think of a lesbian. They're like, okay, lesbian, no men, new age.
Yeah, I was just about to say new age.
I was expecting her to take out a block of tofu and start eating it, but It's the 90s.
You have to watch the extended edition for that.
Yeah.
They are, yeah, and I was thinking that too, that they are very much the trope. I think the couple in Friends are like very much the same kind of couple. Like it is a trope to have like it's the kind exactly what you said. This new age couple always seems to be what the lesbian couples are in 90s movies.
Yeah. So Connie and Gloria. So Gloria is the one that is pregnant, and they are quite far along, or it seemed like they were a fair bit farther along, and they are running a kind of a prenatal, like prepare to have your baby, new agey type of course.
As they put it, beyond Lamaze.
Beyond Lamaze.
It's outside of the male gaze of Lamaze.
That's right. Yeah,
exactly.
My favorite quote from this.
Is this sort of like Lamaze?
Oh, it's beyond Lamaze. Purely self-actuated, untainted by the male perspective.
Untainted.
Self-actuated, I love, because that's still something that's like a hardcore grifter line. You always get that shit. It was like, actuate your self-potential or whatever the fuck they say.
Oh, I do have to mention, looking up, Gloria's last name is Starchild. So
Oh my god.
That's amazing. I love that didn't even fucking come up in the movie. They just that was in the script
that was
though.
The last name was Starchild, so she's like also like actuated. It sounds like some like culty MLM. Like
and it is. Yeah, they get into it a bit later about how culty weird MLM they are.
I feel like if your last name is Starchild, you either have to go hard into it or hard against it. You can't have a middle ground.
Or,
right?
Your dad is Frank Zappa.
Yeah. So like you have like tofu eating Starchild, or then you have like U.S. senator who used to work for Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, like full on like libertarian, don't tread on me, Chuck Starchild.
Chuck Starchild.
Which is now what I'm naming my kid, by the way. All right.
A couple of things I did want to mention about this. That fucking shirt. The Victoria, it's Victoria, right? No.
Virginia?
Virginia, sorry.
Oh
I knew it was a
God.
V name. The shirt that she has on, such embroidery. It's weird. It didn't look knitted. It looked like an embroidered shirt, which she has several of. A few other ones pop up throughout this movie. And then the weird way that Gloria had her overalls on when she came up to her and leaned over, and just the one boob like popped out over the top of the overalls, just like display. That I felt was funny enough to mention.
Mm-hmm. And just in case the audience hasn't put two and two together by this point, while they're walking away, we get a butt grab between Gloria and Connie. just in case there's any kind of slow on the uptake viewers there, that in fact these are lesbians. We're just gonna do everything.
Wait,
but
what? They're lesbians?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you knew.
Trigger warning.
Yeah.
Trigger warning. There's lesbians in this.
Oh my god! I didn't know I was watching a movie full of them lesbians.
So now we're ushered into Dr. Meyerling's office
By Lisa Kudrow.
Yes.
Yes. I brought this like as soon as I saw her like on the screen, I was like, wait a minute.
I didn't pick it up at all. I learned that this morning when you guys told me.
Yeah. I mean, never watched Friends, but I have been around the vicinity of huge, what would you call them? Friendsters? Like mega
Friendsters. The website's defunct, so we can steal that name.
Yeah.
Huge Friends fans. Yeah. No, I'm just really into Tommy and Michelle's high school reunion.
Yeah.
So here we get a little bit more backstory behind Brad and Virginia's conception woes. Basically, they have tried everything short of voodoo, as Brad mentions, and they can't conceive. There's been, I believe, a miscarriage or two. There's been all sorts of problems around it, and this is kind of their last chance. Dr. Meyerling, as he will be throughout the entire movie, is just like, don't worry about it. Don't you worry about it. I got you.
He tries to be reassuring, but he does seem like Mengele. Like he does come across like a guy who's working for a Bond villain who's like really even more evil. He doesn't give a shit. I wrote, I'm a good doctor. Was I wrote down.
No, Mrs. Marshall, I expect you to conceive.
Oh, Jesus.
Also,
you know what? If I ever go to Jesus, if I can even goddamn speak, if I can go to a fertility doctor and he says, don't worry, you will conceive. I'll help you conceive a baby. I'm walking out that door because I know that guy is like putting his own supply. And
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good. I was about to make the joke.
Yeah.
I also love Brad. Brad both is like a weird trope of a character. There's a bunch of guys in movies like these thrillers. The husband looks like this.
Yeah.
I know The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, the husband looks exactly the same. He also looks like Ellis from Die Hard. This.
Thank you. I got huge Ellis vibes.
Yeah, very much. Just the weird tight little black beard, black hair.
Yeah.
Vibe.
So we do also learn a little bit more about Virginia. She's a children's author. They make a fun, very topical MTV humor joke there about, there being like 10 kids left that don't watch MTV instead of reading. So Brad has to give a sample at this point, and Lisa Kudrow comes back to usher him into what I can only describe as a featureless white closet to masturbate. Which is, that always gets me ready to go.
We're a Christian fertility clinic, so you're gonna have to do this one on your own.
Yeah, you just got to imagine
this buff Jesus on the crucifix.
We need you to chew some cornflakes while you do this.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I thought that was interesting. We never do get to see if there was any like magazines or anything in this room. It was just he's got the little cup.
I mean, it's the 90s.
It's pre-internet porn. Like he's basically just ready to explode at any given moment. A stiff breeze will fucking crank one up for him.
And then, so I'm not sure why the movie needed to show us this, but there is an extreme close-up after this of his sample being extracted from the little bottle. And then Meyerling has it in his very dark lab, which is not any lab I've ever seen except for movie labs, who they always assume that mad science is done in the dark. And so he puts it on a slide so he can look at the sperm under the microscope. And then we get a part. This happens several times through this movie. This movie wants me to hate food, is what I've discovered, because we get a lovely fade from the sperm swimming around to a dinner.
Yeah.
Like this is, which leads us to our next kind of scene in the movie. But I was just like, is that really what we're doing here? And this happens a few times in the movie where it's just like cut from gross thing to food. Well, thanks. So we get now our protagonists having dinner with the DeWitts. This is Jeff and Cindy.
Also the worst couple ever.
Oh my God.
Oh,
yes.
They are the absolute most insufferable.
Designed to be insufferable.
Yeah.
And they knock it out of the park.
Exactly. Like they talk about their nannies, like, oh, she speaks Spanish. But it's the good kind.
From Spain, not Mexico, is what they said.
I'm like, oh, come on.
But it was like after they said it, where they were like they're Spanish, and then they pause, like almost like they're waiting for our main characters to like cringe in disgust at that fact, and then they were like,
from Spain.
What? I'm gonna double down on this just to make sure you're the right kind of white people. Like, no,
the right kind of white.
Spain, not Mexico.
Exactly.
Also, when we see that woman later, I'm like, she might be from Mexico.
I don't think she's from Spain.
I don't think so, man. You never know.
Yeah. One of the fun parts about this is they're talking about the DeWitts. They have a baby from Meyerling's clinic, and she is perfect and wonderful.
But like a baby is like the kid's 2 years old. For me, it's like as soon as they hit 2 years old, they're not a baby.
No.
Oh yeah, they're one of these people that are like, oh yeah, they're 97 months.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, in my book, you get to 18 months with a baby. After 18 months, it's a toddler, and then once you hit 3, they're a preschooler, right? Like they're a kid. This is gospel to me. I spent a lot of time working with kids at the library, and we really like would categorize children. We were very efficient about it because
that sounds a little bit,
I know, right? It sounds
a little bit suspicious there,
doesn't it? Because our programming would be from like 0 to 12 months, and then you would have something that went from 12 months to like 2 years. But it was within that we were very much like, no, your child has graduated from this level.
So what if I had a kid that's like 12 and a half months?
Oh, get the fuck out. Do not darken my baby's first book's doorstep with your old, decrepit child.
Oh,
That's what, like,
my kid's half past 12. Yeah, that's the British mom coming in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excuse me, baby is 12:30. But I was gonna make a joke that it's like when Leonardo DiCaprio says about his dates because he dates young women. That's my take.
He sure does. We're at this dinner. Jeff, he's a bit of a douchebag, but he does offer to get Virginia on a morning talk show because he is some kind of executive. I never really understood what he or Brad really did during this, and it never really matters. So, but they work in television in some way, shape, or form. So he does offer that. One of the fun parts that I thought was after that, Virginia goes to light up a cigarette. Cindy starts coughing before the light, like before the lighter reaches the cigarette. Yeah.
Yeah, I did write down, it is crazy that was a time where she was just like lighting up in this person's house, like didn't even ask or anything. It was just like, oh, I'm just fucking going for it. While they're having dinner too, which is fucking gross.
No, I thought that was their house. Was that not their house?
No,
I
wait.
thought, I didn't think they were in the
Oh,
Duets
it
house.
is their house?
They're
Okay,
their
that's
house.
why. Okay, that at least makes more sense. But yeah, so yeah, no, she's the bitch doing her little fucking like fake cough thing.
Yeah, and then it gets worse because it's just like with the cat's like this actual, which I'm sure it's not a real cat. I'm sure it's like an actual prop cat. By the way, they're flipping it around. Like,
Oh yeah.
like so. Anyways, like, oh, cats are good for the babies. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Cats are great.
Yeah.
And then like, wasn't it like the whole like wine debacle? Like everything that comes out of these people's mouths, it just makes me want to smash my face on the table.
Oh my god,
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, the way they turned down wine made it it was like so extra, like they could have just been like no thank you, but they really made it seem like it was trash wine.
Like, unless you, like,
and in
it,
fairness,
like,
it looked like fucking Kool-Aid in the glass.
It did.
I mean, you know, it's someone who used to work at a wine store. It's like, oh, I'm sure it's like a nice like Pinot Noir, blah 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 blah. And then like, oh, maybe if it was in the summer rainy months, that's probably what it is. And I'm like, oh, everything these people say just makes me want to just eat glass.
Yeah.
They also, when Virginia goes up to, I think, get coffee or dessert one of the times, immediately
I
start
thought she was
talking about.
I didn't think it. She looked like a fucking robot when she did that because there was like the beeping going off in the fucking kitchen, and the way she just like stood up and like turned and reversed out of there.
Yeah,
it was like she was a robot servant. It's like the original Westworld. Just like like.
I want to put the sound effects from Chopping Mall of the robots just going over that scene because it would make perfect sense. But the Duets immediately just start asking Brad all about her, like just talking about her behind her back. Now, their kitchen is right next to their dining room. It's also like a semi-open space.
Mm-hmm.
So she's maybe 15, 20 feet from them, like at her farthest
and they're not
point.
Whispering.
And they're just like, yeah, so what about Virginia, huh?
Did you catch that bitch who was here?
Exactly. What's her problem?
Yeah, what's her problem? You know,
and meanwhile, she's in the kitchen stabbing the shit out of a pie.
Oh my god!
Just assaulting this pie.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. So once the Duets finally leave, Virginia has a nice little scream about
amazing scream of distress. Just throwing herself onto a bed like a teenage girl.
Yeah. And we get them getting ready to go to bed, and then we get a little sexy scene here.
Yeah.
And so now call me a prude, but I've never had rocking chair sex before. It seems incredibly uncomfortable. So Virginia is on the chair. I feel like I have to set the scene for our viewers who may not have watched this beforehand. But so she's on this rocking chair. He comes up to her, and they're playful banter, doing couple stuff. And like he kind of like she puts her legs up. He kind of works her underwear off, and he kind of leans in. I'm like, okay, like he's going downtown. That's at least, you know what? This is kind of a position where this isn't completely super awkward. But then he doesn't. He kind of fakes us out, and we're like, oh, like we're going all the way here.
Exactly.
And I thought what he was going to do is pick her up and like, toss her on the bed, and they're gonna go from there. Instead, what they do is use it kind of like a sex swing. but it only shows it from like kind of the.
But they don't use like a sex swing because they're both moving with
They're both.
it. He doesn't move.
Oh yeah,
he isn't using the rocking chair to fuck himself with her. Like he's going with her, and they're both not making any noise. We could probably play a clip of the rocking sound. It would be the most PG sex scene in radio
It might
history.
be going on right now in the background.
Just the awful fucking sound of that chair. It's like just gonna break everyone underneath him at any second.
So awkward sex position from last week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
Train sex or rocking chair sex.
I'll say train sex.
Train sex was
that.
at least a little bit more logistical and on a bed.
I mean, I don't know if you folks. I've never been on a fancy train. I did have my own cabin one time.
Whoa,
fancy like that. But the way that it looks like on the cabin, it looks like it was like not much room.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like they're just like flopping. Oh, you know what? I take it back. They look like they're having a fun time. You know, being newlyweds for only knowing each other for a week. But anyways, not talking about that movie. I'm talking about rocking chair sex.
Mm-hmm. This scene goes on for a little while too, right? Like you, at some point, you're just like, can we? Like, I get it. I get what's going on. Can we? And especially like the lack of a lot of sound. You're just, here we are.
Yeah.
But eventually we do get them. They're finally ready to go to bed. Love the energy of Virginia taking her antidepressant pills with wine that she keeps on her bedstand. That's an energy that like I can get behind. Sure. We go from that to an operating room.
Yes.
Yeah. And Dr. Meyerling he's got I enjoyed his delivery of dialogue throughout this movie. I just again like he has that weird kind of pseudo Bond villain, pseudo
Somebody tells me this
friendly
guy
old doctor.
He doesn't have his license.
Yeah, I don't think he's a doctor.
It seems more like, he's gonna start taking out weird cutting tools and shit. Just like, it's fine, everything's good.
Everything's good. Everything's good.
Just gaslighting the shit out of it.
This is another one of those kind of sandwich artist moments I think like we got in Jaws 3D where it's just like, oh, she's a marine biologist, sure, right? That's her title that they gave her at work.
Exactly.
Don't look for the diploma anywhere.
He's a doctor of teeth.
He's a doctor of things.
Yeah. So we get a giant needle in a stomach, in a pregnant woman's stomach.
Hated.
Which I also hated.
Yeah,
That makes me feel very uncomfortable.
Scene.
Also, he just kind of like decides that he knows where to poke. Oh, this is Virginia as well, right? Because we are going to the or is it? Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
This is when she's actually getting the
procedure done. Yeah. So what he is doing, I believe, is extracting an egg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he says that. Because he says it in some weird way where he's just like, we're gonna get in there, pull out the most fertile one of those babies.
Yeah.
And
so now I'm not a doctor, much like Dr. Meyerling, not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
But what I thought would have to happen is that there would be like, they would have marked some kind of like guiding thing for him, right? Because the ovaries, they're not big generally, right? But he just plunges this.
Oh, it is like
needle.
a huge area they've marked off for him.
Yeah, like
because I don't think I suspect not a lot of men know.
Okay, yes.
So typically, this is from the internet.
Okay,
and so I am a doctor.
Okay,
from the internet, obviously
the most qualified one here.
Exactly. So basically, you don't get a egg sample from a woman traditionally from sticking a needle just into her stomach. You need to go right down to where the fallopian tubes. Okay.
Right.
Pretend I am your grade 9 sex ed teacher. Normally I'm a home ec teacher, but today I'm a sex ed teacher. So I think normally with like egg retrieval, you go actually into the vagina and you just sort of get a probe in there, and then you get a needle is guided through the vagina.
Okay.
So
see, that seems very reasonable.
Yeah. So imagine instead of sticking a giant needle into your stomach, you're sticking it right up your vagina.
Okay. Wow. So
let's do let's make this episode a drinking game. Drink every time I say vagina.
All right.
Vagina.
Oh, no.
It's not even good. It's not even gonna be like we're gonna be talking about something else, and then just say vagina.
Yeah.
Drink, motherfucker.
once we get that nice little kind of close up, you just the egg is with the blood, and we get to the recovery room where Brad and Dr. Meyerling are having a short little conversation that we kind of come into the middle of in this scene, and Dr. Meyerling mentions not to let Virginia know about a little thing, and that will come up later in the movie here, and then we get the kind of after scene, like, oh, it worked, like, oh, is this gonna be good?
Right off the bat, it's just like, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the pregnancy test, man? Yeah. To say that it worked.
Yeah. And Virginia's having a bad dream here.
Yeah.
While she's like right before she wakes up, and so she has that bad dream, wakes up, and then we get the baby prep montage. And I love a good montage in a movie. I think every movie should have at least one montage in it, and this is this one. So this is them going around. They're getting baby stuff set up. She's getting maternity clothes. Brad's built a cradle. They're hanging a mobile.
Something we did gloss over just before this was them. The two things that they bring up about like making new memories with their baby both have to do with shit.
Oh,
it was like, we're gonna bronze their first diaper. And then something about wiping their ass. It was like both the things you thought of were about shit, and then we get to get to this.
So then we get her working on her computer, sort of, almost. The monitor is never on at any point. The monitor is also to the side of the keyboard, which is an interesting work strategy.
Exactly.
That I've not seen before, but it was quite a thing. She does something that was a little bit like in Trucks, where like she kind of moves her hand towards where a button would be on the monitor, but the monitor is already off and the monitor stays off.
Yeah, the film quality, no one will ever notice this. We're also somewhere in that, before we miss it, somewhere in that montage, there was a sign that said pregnancy, miscarriage, and hope, like about over someone's shoulder, which I thought was funny.
And one of the things that she does is in getting ready for this baby, is she throws her cigarettes in the sink and then sprays them with water.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a smoker. I've never been a smoker. But dumping alcohol down the sink when you have quit drinking, that is a very common thing in a lot of media. Throwing cigarettes in the sink and spraying them with like the little hose attachment, is that something people do? Because I thought
she could have flushed them down the toilet just as easily.
I mean, she could have thrown them in the garbage, right? Like they're...
Yeah.
Oh, no, you'll go back after them.
No,
Fuck that baby. She'll go right after those. Those trash cigarettes will be hers in a matter of minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, this is why I wanted to throw this out to the group, because I was like, am I crazy here? But okay, I'm glad that's...
No, I mean, you should just... I think what some people do is like, just give them to a random drunk person on the street. They would love you for it.
Yeah. And so after this, I believe we get our Scream class.
Yes, we
go to the Beyond Lamaze class, which is just screaming.
Yeah. So this is some real woo, as we were led to expect. But the ladies are all kind of down on the mats, and they're practicing their screams in various positions. And their screams aren't primal enough, so they keep in there. And this is where we
make it more guttural.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're getting torn in half.
Yeah.
This is where we meet Beth. And I like Beth. I like Beth right off the start. I wish we had gotten more Beth in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
So we talk about some fun stuff, including placenta recipes.
Oh, man.
Great way to bond with your baby.
I wasn't expecting that. I was like, I mean, I should have based on everything else. But as soon as they were like, oh, we got there's recipes in this book for placenta, like very healthy or whatever she said.
And very phallic looking crystals too.
Oh yeah. And I love that like they're just passing them out. They're not like, you can buy these. No. Everybody gets a crystal in a book.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
And to emphasize, no men. Like they're like, oh, can we bring our husbands to this in the 90s? The lesbians are like, no men.
And they call them outsiders too.
Exactly.
Like, we don't need the outsiders.
You don't need the outsiders.
Yeah. Back in my day, the husband waited outside of the emergency room, and I wanted to go back to there.
I don't even want to look at my husband.
Yeah.
You did this to me.
Yeah.
You stay outside. We also get some turkey baster shade Because Beth is like
Yeah.
sick of the new age shit.
Oh, yeah.
And she's just like, fuck you. My husband like did big comes in my pussy. You used a fucking turkey baster. Literally like shades them for using a turkey baster to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she also was artificially inseminated, so she didn't.
Yeah. No. It's just like
she did the same thing you guys did.
Yeah.
But, maybe because it's like a turkey baster used in a hospital versus that used in like a living room. But also, I really hope that they like threw away the turkey baster afterwards because holy shit, I'm never eating.
Yeah, you can't just throw that back in the drawer because people use a turkey baster once a year and they don't wash it when they pull it out of the drawer.
No, you wouldn't think, right?
No.
Yeah, you don't want to get that mixed up. Maybe if you have two and then you're just like, which one was the
This
insemination?
is why we need to label
thing?
things.
Yeah.
This is why we need a label maker. Sit down.
Yeah.
That's what you want when you're digging through the drawers at someone else's house. Insemination baster. I'm just gonna put that back.
Yeah.
And wash my hands forever.
Yeah.
So Beth sort of like Beth leaves.
Beth leaves. She tells him to
Suck my dick.
Yeah.
I thought was one of the best
hilarious.
lines in this whole movie. I laughed.
Oh
out loud.
because fucking Kathy Griffin's like, can't you just embrace your own sex or whatever?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you need to embrace women more. And she says, "Suck my
You
dick."
gotta embrace the vagina there, lady.
Yeah, suck my dick. And then Virginia. It's Virginia, right?
Yes.
Virginia.
Okay,
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, I keep hesitating on it now. So, and Virginia's there just like, bro, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I love her reaction where she's just like
She's
laughing.
just got a
like,
snicker in there.
I'm not leaving, but
Yeah.
this is hilarious.
Yeah.
And then after that, we get quite possibly the most upsetting and disgusting thing that a person does to themselves in this movie with the orange juice chocolate powder.
Okay. Oh, thank God,
Also,
Josh.
which costs like $5 a pop, which is like insane even for today's standards.
Yeah.
It's like a little packet.
Yeah, I don't know where she's getting this stuff.
It was like
but-
that.
I guess
instant-
Dr. Miley.
It was like that instant breakfast shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like some creatine powder.
Yeah.
And so I'll
She
set the
doesn't-
stage for everybody.
Okay, yeah.
Pours a glass of orange juice, then dumps chocolate like powder into
Ugh.
it, takes a butter knife and stirs it once. So it's just mounds of like dry powders floating on top of orange juice with some of it like stuck around the edge like it's a fucking Caesar and it's got the salt on it.
Ugh.
And then the knife, she licks the knife off and that's just like gross.
That's just the
like,
powder,
It's
like,
just powder
yeah.
like that's all like in like gelatinous form, and then starts drinking it. Like I'm just expecting her to like take one sip and then like cough powder, like cough powder out.
This for me, Josh. This was your chopping mall janitor scene.
Oh,
this
yeah,
was the scene
yeah,
where I was just like, no,
adding the
no,
poop
I
to the
don't.
floor.
I hated this because this movie hates food, right?
Yeah.
And this
It
is even
really
the
does,
last
yeah.
time it'll do something like this to us. I was so glad when later in the movie,
Brad
does- and
properly
he's
stirs
like
it.
properly stirred it. I was like, yeah.
Here, it's supposed to be mixed.
Yeah.
yeah.
God, you're a psychopath.
Yeah.
This is where we learn Brad is going to be away.
Yeah.
So we learn that Brad is going to be going away. He does not say for what, and I love
Yeah.
that like that was clearly like an I'm done writing for today. Like
Yeah.
like I'm not. We'll figure out where he goes later, and just got through every version of
Yeah.
the script with him just being like, I'm going to New York.
Yeah.
for no reason
It
at all.
could
Doesn't
almost be
say
like
it's a
ad-lib.
meeting. Doesn't
Yeah.
say he's just like I'm off to New York now.
Yeah. Yeah, and Virginia's mother is coming, and Brad is just like, "Oh no, I have to be in New York. Uh-oh." And Virginia's
he
like,
really-
"Don't worry about it. She's gonna be here for
He leans-
forever."
Yeah,
Like,
he leans so hard into the I hate my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Which turns out to be a lovely woman.
Oh, yeah.
turns out to
Amazing woman.
Turns out to
Very,
be
very
very
patient,
nice,
very loving.
and supportive of a lot of crazy shit.
Yeah.
she really does just go along with all of Virginia's madness.
She
in the
believes
second
women.
half of this.
As an elder woman, she believes women.
Exactly.
Yeah, Virginia's got a checkup at this point. Everything is good at the checkup, according to Dr. Meyerling, which he will continue to say as things get worse and worse. And she asks him about her antidepressants because she is worried about basically her medical history. She had some history of mental illness and she's been on these that are rather strong, we're told, antidepressants. He's like, "Can you get by without him?" And she's like, "Yeah, it'll be fine."
I feel like it's something to bring up before you get inseminated.
Yeah.
I would feel like you know,
because she was still.
He should have known this, right?
Yeah.
Like he should have had her medical history
Exactly.
at the
Usually.
very
Yeah.
least.
Not a
But
real doctor.
I've been
Not a
taking
doctor.
these with wine every day
Exactly.
for 3 years.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get out of the system? 4 months, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. And it was really funny because the music in this scene really like kicked into gear to tell me this was an ominous scene.
The music is constantly distressing.
Yeah.
And there's which we can get into a thing that happens later with diegetic music.
I just feel like it's just constant. There's no breaks in the music.
Oh my God. Especially in that I kind of got used to it, but in that first scene when they first go to their initial doctor's appointment at the beginning of the movie, the music is like they bring the pot down, but the music's still there. There's this distressing music that's like just quiet enough that I was like, I kept being like, is it still going? It was like, you know, when you think you're hearing like a buzz far off in the distance, like, is that happening? I can't tell. So I was like, just made me nervous.
It's just constant anxiety.
The music never went away. There's no break.
Yeah, and every time I see like the outside and the inside of the clinic, it just reminds me of like a corporate hell. I've never worked in an office. I've applied to many jobs for an office, like a schmuck.
Yeah.
You know, all jokes aside, you know, work wherever, but it just looks like a sexual harassment PSA. It's just
in terms of film quality or in terms of the set?
Both.
Both.
I mean, especially like the very beginning, like when you have like Lisa Kudrow is like, the doctor will see you now. And then like, it's just like the underlining synth, the bright 80s, like white walls.
Has this happened to you?
Has this happened to you?
Yeah.
If you see something, say something.
Unless it's me chugging a bottle of something, then you didn't see shit.
It's more of the snitches get stitches PSA that Gabby does for all of her workplaces that she starts at.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you see me with my hand in the cash register? You didn't see shit.
Yeah.
All jokes aside, I never stole from a job.
Yeah, you didn't see anything.
You didn't see anything.
So now we head over to the television studio.
Nothing you can prove.
Where I thought Virginia was meeting with the host, but it turns out I think she's meeting with like a producer or something.
I think so too. Yeah. I was like, okay, who is this guy? Because like, most of like the men look very similar.
They do. They all have kind of a look to them.
What was it? Jeff DeWitt looks exactly like the producer.
Yeah, the producer got a little more hair, but I think otherwise they are pretty much the same dude.
They look like milquetoast men.
Yeah.
So they look. Also, I think we brought it up last episode that Josh and I are TVs, like where we graduated in the TV production. So I was looking around the set and I was like, this set is just white. And then I was like, what is this set? Like I noticed like a desk in the background, but like there's plants everywhere. There's like ladders. You see like the tech guy in the background, like the lighting guy, like just wrapping up an XLR cable. And I was like, he looks almost invisible, but
yeah,
there he is.
It's like the prop department when they were setting up for this scene. The only direction they got was generic set.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what's
TV.
it for? Any television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, what kind of TV show? TV.
I don't know. We make movies. I don't know what those fucking psychopaths over there are doing. Those fucking freaks doing shit every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fucking nerds figure it out.
Yeah.
It's a weird little area.
Yeah.
But it sounds like Virginia's written a real downer of a children's book here, but it is about overcoming, a little girl overcoming all of these issues in her life.
You have the producer be like, that's a bit down, eh? Why don't you just make it a really happy one?
Yeah.
Like, after you just publish the book.
Yeah, he doesn't want her to actually change the ending. He just keeps saying like, yeah, just pretend it's happy, and you'll triple your sales. People will buy it. People will be duped into buying it if you pretend it's happy.
Moms don't give a shit about their kids. They're like, here's fucking Watership Down. Go read.
Yeah, oh god.
No.
Here's the plague dogs.
This is kind of a preliminary meeting, so we'll see the great
fruits of their labor on their morning show. Yeah.
But now we get a little bit of the horror back into this horror movie with the DeWitts. They come home and the lights are out, and
their Spanish nanny is having a freak out.
Yeah, she is just kind of, I think, running around in this dark house, and she kind of runs into them as they are like, "Why are the lights out? What's going on?"
Yeah,
and she's just screaming about the baby.
The baby! The baby! Oh my god, what happened to the baby?
I love that the lights are out. And they're supposed to be using a flashlight.
Oh my god!
There's so much more illumination than the flashlight that the flashlight is drowned out by it. It's not that dark.
The lights are out, but our LED strips are perfectly fine.
So imagine this. So you've come back to your own home. The power has gone out. The nanny that you have left with your two children is there. she is screaming about the baby and leading you upstairs. Do you A, run upstairs like normal concerned parents, or B, creep down the hallway like you're in a Scooby-Doo haunted house until she leads you to the bathroom? Because this next scene where they're up the stairs, they're going so slowly. I was like, don't you have children to worry about here? Like, what are you concerned?
Yeah, I don't
about?
want the killer to get me.
Exactly.
Killer already got them kids.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not going down too.
Are you expecting Jason Voorhees like having gotten your child? Because I think that's a logic leap here. And we get to the bathroom, and this was such a funny little bit, because I know it's supposed to be very serious, but like you mentioned, the lighting in this bathroom is so good that when you see the bathroom, you see the whole tableau of the bathroom. Yeah. So you, like 15 seconds before them, see this kid face down in the bathtub.
Yeah, but they gotta slowly bring the
flashlight over. But they slowly pan the flashlight over, and you're just like, just there.
It's right
you can
there.
like we can all clearly see what's happening.
Yeah.
And then he pulls whatever. Well, I didn't see what it was, but
it was a hairdryer.
So a hairdryer has been dropped into the water.
Yeah. Reaches in there.
He reaches it out. It sparks. The fucking power's out. So why did it do that? Shouldn't have done that. Also, the fact that he just reaches in to grab it.
Exactly.
So there's a kid, face down, dead in the tub, and he just pulled that thing out.
Yeah.
And then they immediately are like about to lynch the nanny.
Yeah, they're just like, how could you let this happen? And it's like, she's like, it was the baby.
Yeah.
And then the flashlight again pans over to this baby who we're.
Alicia.
Fucking Village of the Damned looking little girl.
This little girl is honestly maybe the most disturbing thing in this movie. And I don't want to rag on the kid's appearance, but she's a creepy looking little kid.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure it's because she has to fucking use the bathroom. Because that kid, we go immediately from this to them freaking out about the kid, we go immediately to the funeral, and they give us this one static shot of the murder child, and she's just grabbing herself and looks in distress. Yeah. It was like they weren't letting this kid go to the bathroom. It was like, no, we gotta get the shot. We're on the date. We only got you for 3 hours. You're only allowed to work for so long because you're a child. So you fucking hold it. Like, I felt bad for this kid because she looks in distress.
Yes.
Like, her face is in constant distress, and she's grabbing herself. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, this poor child, right?
Yeah.
And her outfit for this funeral seemed off point.
Yeah, at first, when the camera was, panning over, the child coffin, I was like, because she has, this big white collar, and I was like, is she wearing a white dress to her brother's funeral?
What a power move.
Exactly.
I love this kid.
You know what? Fuck my brother. I'm in my cunt era. This is just me now.
Yeah.
But then it's a black dress, but the extremely huge white collar, abnormally
very Puritan
large.
of her.
Exactly.
And we should mention at this point too, they keep calling her the baby. She is a toddler.
Exactly.
She is walking. She's not talking, but she is probably at least kind of that 18 to 24 month. That's 2 years old.
Child.
Yeah, it might have been a 3-year-old playing a toddler, a younger child. But
it's the way that they keep saying that she's a baby. I was expecting to see a grown woman's head on a baby's body, because she's reciting the president's names and when her.
Oh yeah, they do mention.
We went to the Hall of
dinner.
Presidents in Disney World, and she picked out Roosevelt or something like
that. Yeah.
It was just I'm expecting a full grown, 50-year-old woman smoking a cigarette, but on a baby's body.
Yeah. For me too, the coffin seemed a little bit big, but I don't know if that was. I honestly don't know how big the kid was supposed to be, her brother, but I think he was a fair bit older, but he still seemed very small. Okay, this next one I found a little it's supposed to be creepy, but I found it quite creepy.
The psychic scene.
No, where she walks over to Virginia and she starts rubbing her belly and smiling at her. And my note for this was Virginia, you are a grown ass woman.
I would punt that
turn
baby.
that kid around and bring her back to her family. But secondly, DeWitt, I know you are psychologically damaged from this. But control your demon child. That is bad form. You don't let your toddler walk around rubbing people's bellies.
If that little girl comes up to me, I'd punt that little just like a fucking football. Watch me kick it like a linebacker or I don't know.
I'm pretty sure the kicker kicks the ball.
I don't know, man. You just fucking throw a ball, and then it goes down the field, then you
I know
catch
you
it.
filmed football.
I don't know how to play football, but...
Yeah. And then her parents get a copy of your if you see something, say nothing tape that we
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you see a grown-ass woman punt a baby like a football,
Yeah.
you didn't see anything.
Yeah. That is so Gabby has committed a crime in front of you videotape. that
Exactly.
Tells you how to
But did
shut
she?
your goddamn mouth.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
did she?
Did I though?
Yeah.
Did I?
Did I?
So we go from psychic baby child
Yes.
Reed to Virginia.
Oh yeah, can't sleep.
Yeah, she can't sleep and sprints over Brad
Yeah.
to get to. I don't know where I got Greg
Greg.
from.
He looks like a Greg.
He does look like a Greg. So she sprints over Brad to go to the bathroom and starts throwing up. And then when they show what she threw up into the toilet and it's just black liquid,
Yeah.
I was like, no, call to the hospital.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
something has gone horribly awry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we get a legit, I think a pretty legitimate jump scare
We do. Yes.
in this fucking movie
Yeah.
when something reaches out of the toilet
Yeah.
because I missed it and I
Yeah.
just heard it and had to go back. I was expecting a hand, but it's just something
It's just
nonsense.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
It got me that one because
Yeah.
I was not expecting it because it's like you don't know that it's kind of like I assume it was a dream sequence.
It
You
is
don't
a dream
really-
sequence, yeah,
okay.
because she immediately then wakes up.
Oh,
from
okay,
it,
yeah. So I wasn't expecting that. So it got the jump out of me, and I expected a cat jump scare at some point with it,
Mm.
and I thought that might have been the moment that they put that in there because it kind of sounded like a cat,
Mm.
like the noise that it made because
Yeah.
it was like a weird little cry thing.
Yeah.
Then we get to the next morning. Virginia does not want to hear about Brad's computer concerns.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I
So-
love this, how
so-
fast she
yeah.
flipped out at him.
Yeah, and now Brad is being overly worried here
Yeah.
because he's talking out of his ass for the most part.
Oh yeah,
Like,
like,
it
I
was
saw
like-
this movie Johnny Mnemonic
Yeah.
and people got sick from all the electronics.
those,
So-
those darn rays that the computers shoot out into your baby.
Yeah.
And yeah, Virginia just basically tells him to
Well,
fuck right
chemicals in the waters, making our
Yeah.
off.
fucking
The
frogs
hospital,
get.
and like I mean a real hospital here. Her neck in that
Oh.
scene because you see like she
Oh.
apologizes to him, and you see a good shot of her neck, and I'm just like, oh
Yeah,
no, like
I
that's not just a
I
rash,
wrote
Virginia.
Neck growth.
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Which is
And
like similar to like when Gloria.
Gloria had a pat, like
Yeah,
had
a patch.
her neck was
Yeah.
covered up during the class
Yeah.
they were doing, and so now we see another. Yeah, so now she's got it going on as
Yeah.
well.
A little bit later on here, we get back to a little bit of sexy times.
Yeah,
And I just put, wow, Brad is a little bitch. And then I said,
I wrote aggressive sexual.
yeah.
tendencies.
And I was like, or Virginia is developing a taste for human flesh. One of those
Yeah.
two things is
Yeah.
the case. Because like she scratches him, but there's like, she doesn't leave any marks. So
No.
I'm like, I don't know that was that hard. And then she's kind of nibbling on him.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that hurts. And yeah.
And then she
she-
full blows like bites him. Like,
Yeah.
like me biting into a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah,
Um,
but, like, and then it immediately shuts everything down because she like throws him off,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's just so like, ugh,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, you used to like to do this. You're
Yeah.
not allowed to change your preferences. It's like, you said yes before. That
Yeah.
means yes forever.
Oh my god, yeah.
And so she goes back to see Dr. Meyerling here, and he reassures her that everything is in fact just super cool. Everything is great.
Everything's great.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's so great. Here, have this sweet mixtape I made you.
Just like-
And some antidepressants.
Because that's basically what it is. Because he has to, because of the shit he's up to, he's got to sell everything himself. He's got to sell his own
Yeah.
creatine
Yeah.
powder.
Yeah.
He's got to make his own mixtapes and sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I once again wrote, I'm a good doctor.
I'm a good doctor.
Yeah.
What do you think? Okay, before she put it in, what do you guys think was on the tape? Like, just,
I figured it was gonna be like closer to like pan flute whale sounds,
That's
not
what I-
the fucking soundtrack to the movie. It was literally like it was the same music.
Thank you.
Like, that was
'Cause
playing.
I couldn't tell. I was like, okay, she played on the music, but like, is the score of the movie drowning out the music that is
No.
we're supposed to be
No.
hearing here?
This is
Because
it.
it was just the movie's music.
Yeah, and which is
Yeah.
not relaxing in the
No, it
slightest.
is
It's
not.
much more like
I thought it was
tense.
gonna be like some like post-industrial,
but-
like
But
death
when she gets back from the doctor, she's feeling good.
And she seems to be reading the Weekly World News.
She is,
Yeah,
which is-
it was like I missed what the headline was, but it was some crazy fucking
Yeah.
Bigfoot level bullshit was
Oh,
going
it was
on in this
good.
paper. And the paper was also like stiff.
Yeah.
Like it was like something that would be in like a in a mannequin or a wax museum, so that like the paper doesn't like fall apart. It was like super stiff because she was holding this newspaper with one hand.
Yeah.
And it was perfectly open like a giant book.
Yep.
So she's just eating raw hot dogs out of
raw,
a package of hot dogs.
Exactly.
Just raw dogs and that ketchup is what I wrote.
Yeah.
She just dipped them
Raw
in
dog
ketchup.
and those hot dogs.
Yeah, just eating those. Like everyone else is worried about like cat shit and computer race. Meanwhile, she's like chancing getting like worms or whatever the fuck eating these raw hot dogs. But again, going into the like she's biting people. The other chick at the beginning of the movie eating the raw meat.
Yeah.
Something's up.
Something is definitely up here. And Brad is here, and they're kind of back to being like, hey, things are getting better here. And he actually mixes up her damn protein powder so she can drink it like a sane person. And Brad's off to New York. The shot lingers on a nice UFO baby article in the Weekly World News, which I thought was a nice little kind of call forward, sort of. Mm-hmm. And then we get a call from Beth.
Yeah.
Do we want to take a break before we get into the call from Beth?
You know what? Yeah, let's take a little break.
I think that's a good. So that we'll leave you with some suspense. You can go listen. You guys can listen to commercials.
These messages.
this movie.
These messages. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
If you're worrying about the baby, don't. There's no madness in your blood. This is not a gothic novel. There's nothing to worry about.
Hi, cultists. Nathan here to tell you a little bit about my company, Vox Crow Productions. We're a group of audio producers who would love to help you on your next project. Whether that's a commercial, an audiobook, or maybe even a podcast. Our team has backgrounds in radio, voice acting, editing, podcast production, audio for video, and much more. Check us out at voxcrow.ca for more information. And while you're there, have a peek at our other podcasts. Some of them might even let you hear more of me. Now, let's get back to the movie.
Welcome back. It's the Unborn, and things are about to get real weird here.
Things get spicy and do not slow down.
Yeah.
If it was a Fast and the Furious movie,
picante.
someone would hit the nitrous button and it just wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We left on Virginia having her raw hot dogs and reading her tabloid. Mm-hmm. And she gets a call from Beth. Beth is not feeling great. Beth has started to put the plot of this movie together, and she does not like it.
Does she also have like the neck
She
growth?
does.
She does, and hers is real bad.
Yeah, she's got the neck growth and it's getting all weird. And she's just like, I looked into this guy. Well, because she wants to meet up. She's like, can we meet up now? And Virginia's just like, but I am tired.
Yeah.
I just explain it. So she doesn't want to meet up. That's obviously distressed. But when she talks about having researched the doctor, the things that she brings up aren't inherently evil or bad. But she talks about it like she found out he's a Nazi.
Yes.
She's just like, you don't understand. He's a geneticist.
Have you ever heard of the Human Genome Project?
And it's like it's this evil
mastermind
thing.
Yeah, the way that she says Human Genome Project. Yeah. And
I wrote evil human genome.
Yeah, evil human genome project. Because I remember when that was a big thing, right? When it was ongoing. And even back then, it was just, they had to really work to make it interesting because it was just like, oh, they're mapping the human genome, right? There was no cloning or, grafting on limbs or, dosing genes with radiation. Like, it was literally them just trying to figure out what is the human genome. Yeah. And I love that this movie is just like, but what is it though? Like, what if it's bad?
There's some things God didn't want us to know.
Yeah.
They have this conversation, and the whole time I'm screaming at Virginia, like, this woman is having an absolute breakdown. Even if you think that, she's blowing things out of proportion here, maybe just go now. Mm-hmm. Because the next scene we see is Beth. And as soon as I see Beth in her own home, I'm like, okay, how is she dying in this scene? Because obviously we are never getting that meetup between Virginia and Beth.
No.
And she gets a call from, I guess, a real hospital.
This is amazing.
Yeah. And this is great because we only hear her side of the conversation. And I just wrote down, 51 chromosomes.
I wrote 51 chromies.
51 chromies.
Which is okay. So is this 51 pairs or 51 chromosomes and whatever amount of like 20? Well, it would be uneven for one, which I don't think happens in nature.
I don't think so.
So it's an uneven amount of chromosomes regardless.
Yeah. The human genome is what, 26? Is that right?
23.
23
is is like a regular.
Okay.
And then I think
Again, I would like to state that I am not a doctor.
I did look up some things because I did write it down. I wrote down 23 pairs is like average. Okay. But then things that do have 52 to 56 chromosomes. So her baby could be a pineapple, a skunk, or a bear.
Okay.
You know what? What happens in Alaska stays in Alaska.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a pineapple bear, personally. That would be pretty cute. That looked like a Pokemon in some way, I'm assuming, right? There's probably a pineapple bear Pokemon. 51 chromosomes. And my next note
which she has a deep understanding of because it's immediately upsetting to her.
Oh, yeah, she is.
This news is immediately upsetting. Yeah. And she performs what I wrote down as a stabortion.
Yeah. my only note from this whole scene was, oh, no, Jesus, fuck. That was uncalled for.
She gets a big old butcher knife and she repeatedly stabs herself in the stomach. And we see it like full on multiple times.
Like this was plan A. Like there was she didn't try anything else. There was immediately she was just like, where is the biggest knife I can find?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And man, this was gruesome. I found this scene really disturbing. I don't know.
I think throughout like this whole movie, like the second half where it's just pregnancies and like termination of pregnancies, it's just like, oh man, especially for our cousins down the States, you got to protect them abortion rights, man. Well, I will continue. I will make this
I did when I said we were doing
this episode pro abortion.
Yeah, when I said we were doing this episode, I said it's the most pro-choice movie ever.
Exactly.
Oh my god, yeah.
Everyone is
as
quick
we'll
for the abortion.
as we'll see, the back alley option.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But before we've got some time before we get there. So after that gruesome scene, Virginia shows up at Beth's work the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And her coworker there is just like, oh, she didn't come in today, but like I'll go see if we can track her down or something.
Mm.
And so Virginia goes over to Beth's desk and open in a giant file folder on the top of her desk is all of the pertinent information that Virginia needs.
The exposition folder.
Yeah. Also, like now that we have like the internet and you can search up everything, but like if I see like crazy like geneticist clippings,
microfiche printouts.
I'm just like, a part of my brain was like, is that real, or is this like coming from that newspaper saying like, I gave birth to Bigfoot's baby,
the Weekly World News.
Girl, I think you kind of need to fact check just like a little bit, but then again, you do you. You do you follow that Facebook rabbit hole.
The coworker comes in, looking all worried about a minute later, and he says that she is in a coma, which I was very surprised about because I was expecting he was like, oh, she was found dead in her home, because generally, and again, not a doctor, I don't think you stab yourself into a coma usually.
No.
I feel like we can get into it later, but I feel like there's something kind of telling us that the baby as a leech is like keeping her alive.
I
think is part of that reasoning. I also love that he didn't have this information already. Like he works in the same office as like there's an office with 2 desks, and like he had to go somewhere else in the building, and someone else was just like, oh yeah, that woman you work with every day, she's in a fucking coma trying to kill herself.
The one your desk beside the blonde woman, that woman there. Oh, she's in a coma. I don't know, stabbed herself a bunch of times. Who knows?
Just your standard water cooler.
Yeah.
He was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Wait, did you catch a game last weekend?
Yeah. How about them Knicks?
Yeah, how about them Knicks? Beth stabbed herself multiple times in the stomach. And now she's in a coma.
The super pregnant one. Yeah. So
I think we go to Virginia at home.
So Virginia goes home and Park's blocking the sidewalk like a real asshole.
Yeah.
And I hate people who do that. So I felt no sympathy for the rest of the movie. That's not true, but it's a little true. And
you know, she got what she deserved.
Yeah.
She parked in the middle of the sidewalk.
so she kind of paces around the living room for a
the
little
cat
bit.
acting in this scene.
Oh,
phenomenal. Because
Yeah.
there's so many times where they'll have like a cat that's like drugged or like distracted in some
Exactly.
way on set. This cat watches her like walk back and forth,
Yeah,
like, and it's the
exactly.
cat's sort of just in the foreground. There's no focus on it, but every time she walks by, the cat's just like, "What are you doing?
What are you
What
doing?
are you doing? Where are we going? We
Yeah.
up to something now?"
Yeah.
You feed me.
Oh, and then this is where she puts on the soundtrack
The
to the
mix-
movie. She
yeah.
puts
Which
on
is
her
like-
mixtape.
Which sounds like a Halloween soundtrack that
Oh
you would
yeah,
get from
it's
Spirit
distressing as
Halloween.
fuck.
I think I might have that, like that old CD kicking around. So this is really funny because she lies down for a bit. I feel like her mind is thinking the same thing that like the audience is thinking at this time. It was like, how is this a calming mixtape? Like, firstly, I had to figure out that this was in fact different than the regular soundtrack to this movie. But then she goes over and I think she starts messing with like the EQ on her.
Yeah, they
her,
have one
like,
of those big fancy
Yeah.
stereos. These are like common at the
Mhm.
in this era was these like stereos that take up like part of a wall.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
they have like so many different receivers and features
Mhm.
on them and audio files. Are
So
really all into that.
she's kind of messing with the what I believe are the EQ sliders on it. So she's kind of taking down certain frequencies, and then we get to hear
she
Dr.
hacks the audio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dr.
audio hacker woman.
Dr. Meyerling's voice on this,
Yeah.
doing what I can only call a sweet motivational aspirational mantra for this unborn super baby.
Yeah.
They can't hurt you. You're stronger. Smarter. Better.
And to this point in the movie, like we've seen some weird stuff going on with these babies, these unborn babies. You know, we start to get the sense that yes, these babies are definitely not normal. We're as we're gonna quickly see, like they have a wide variety of superpowers
Yeah.
going forward in this movie. I loved that, by the way. I love the fact that he is just talking to these babies like, "You're great. You're strong.
Yeah.
You're so much stronger than everyone else. You're perfect."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I just imagine this baby just vibing in the womb, being like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
like
like
a-
he's got a little dumbbell in there. He's just like, "Ugh."
He's like one of those, like, you know, like those alpha male.
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
podcasters,
Oh,
like-
absolutely, yeah.
Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're such a Chad, dude. You're
Yeah.
so strong. Women are fucking bitches, dude.
Yeah.
They don't deserve
Got that.
you.
Yeah.
Got,
That
yeah,
was-
he's
that
got-
was-
he's already got his Hustlers University.
That was
fucking
side B of the
subscription.
tape. Was
Side
that?
B.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually recorded by Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hustler University, straight from. They must have a deal with Meyerling.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. Oh my God, Andrew Tate was one of these babies. He
He
never
was-
grew any
you know
hair.
what?
He was able to play chess like at a really young age. Like,
Yeah,
he
but,
was
like-
good at chess at a young age. That is a legitimate thing
Yeah.
about Andrew Tate, but it's mostly because his dad was really good at chess and
Yeah.
beat
Funny.
the shit out of him to make him good at chess.
Yeah, Andrew Tate does have like the chin structure of like an underdeveloped fetus. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
God. Is this just like the Andrew Tate documentary
It's like they didn't
series?
leave him in long enough.
Because I feel like he's the right age
know
for
what?
this movie too.
yeah, exactly.
Like I think she's just carrying Andrew Tate. Do we know
Exactly.
anything about his mom?
no,
No. 'Cause
No.
I think his mom was out of the picture kind of early on and he lived by his dad. who
you know what? You
both
know
treated
a
him
lot
like
about
shit
Andrew
and
Tate there,
he treated
dude.
him like shit and treated him better than his brother. I'll give a shout out to a podcast that we're not affiliated with, but Behind the Bastards, they do really
Yeah.
good deep dives on really shitty people,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm getting this knowledge.
Okay,
from.
you don't have like a secret Andrew Tate obsession.
No.
Yeah, you go home like
Yeah.
you like you open up a box. There's just nothing but like Andrew Tate.
Yeah,
stuff.
I have a
I-
I have a shrine. Yeah.
You
I
have
can
his
say-
glasses.
We have been to Josh's place. I have yet to see the Hustler University diploma on his
Exactly.
Oh, no,
wall.
there's
so
so
I
much
think-
beta shit all over my apartment.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So after the sweet mixtape here,
She starts rooting through the
She-
exposition notes again because she
Yes.
makes her own little red line conspiracy bundle out of it.
Yeah.
yeah, she's doodling and trying to figure shit out.
Mhm.
And this is the first time we see her doodling a very specific pattern that is like a triangle, a circle, and a square. And that'll come up again. There's this really weird, quick kind of camera tilt from like the paper to her, like her face, like she's figured something
but
out.
You missed something, man.
Oh, did I miss something?
You missed something with the cat.
Oh, I did miss the part about the cat. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I have to bring it up because I birthed a cat. She is my little baby. shout out to Penny, sitting on a chair over there. Imagine my living room.
We're not.
No,
we're not talking about like
you didn't skip it, but it does happen like right now.
Okay,
it's pretty close because there's the car alarm scene first, which I want to talk about.
So
hilarious.
So Virginia, so she's doing this. She's starting to figure shit out, but then the phone rings, and she can't stand the sound. Like she is like we get a full on like camera thing where she's
because she tears the house apart.
She tears like she's right, and then like.
She didn't tear the house apart.
No, she smothers the phone.
She smothers the phone,
like it's a baby.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like baby coded shit because like there was at one point she said she thought she was gonna throw up and she refers to it as I might spit up.
Yeah,
there's a lot of weird baby coded shit in this like postpartum things.
So the car alarm goes off, and this is her car, right? This is the car she was driving, I believe.
Yeah.
The cat jumps on the car.
Yeah.
So the cat jumps on the car. It sets off the car alarm. She goes out. She doesn't come out with the keys.
No.
She tries two of the doors on one side of the car, gives up, and smashes the fucking window out with a brick.
Yeah. And then she tears the wires out of her ignition.
Exactly.
Just the most feral shit.
Yeah, like Virginia, this is your car.
Yeah.
This is your car.
Yeah.
Go in. You know where the keys are. Okay. Yeah, that was a little wild, but yeah, she's kind of losing her mind at this point. Just get the keys. Instead, she chooses to just fuck the car shit right up. And then the next scene, and as soon as I saw this scene, I was like,
my first note I wrote was cat is adorable.
Yeah.
my first note was I am concerned about this cat. And then my next note was my concern was well founded.
I wrote why and many exclamation points.
Yeah.
Because as she's like, because she picks up the cat is being adorable and she's petting the cat. But then she's like, starts really pawing the cat's face.
Yeah.
Like the cat's like, even like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But it's clear off camera that she has pet the cat to death and like ripped a chunk of it out. There's like a bunch of fur.
Blood, right?
Like,
blood all
like,
over the cat. There's fur in her hand.
It's like rare, and then like it's quiet, and then she brings her hand up, and there's like fur all over, and it was just like a note of mine was just like, it looks like she just fisted Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh god!
Because like then she just fisted a teddy bear. So like.
This is like the Smurfs logic where for some reason, because their skin is blue, we're assuming their semen is blue as well. I don't know how much fur grows on the rectum of a teddy bear, that is.
I don't know, man.
Teddy Ruxpin also was like full of like tape recorder fucking nonsense too, so you'd become like, be all bloody and cut up.
That was a teddy bear, dude. Full of stuffing.
Yeah. I wrote, why poor kit and little foof.
Yeah. And then she just like picks it up and is just like, "Oh, you lazy cat, you're falling asleep. Here." It's like, oh, the cat's obviously dead, and it just makes me sad. 'Cause, poor cat. Carry like this like dead cat with blood all over the place. Oh, I'll get your mouse.
Yeah,
and
you're fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, it's like fucking Hereditary. You're okay.
You're okay.
Don't look at it.
Yeah.
And then she proceeds to tear the shit out of her house looking for this cat toy for her dead cat.
Oh my god, yeah.
She absolutely destroys it. She finds a Glock in a shoebox in their
Why
bedroom.
is there a gun in the baby's room?
Yeah.
Like, dude, like I would expect, maybe like if you were to carry a gun for self-defense, you would keep it, I don't know, near your bedside where if you hear...
Yeah, generally people will have like little cases and things. There's definitely people who keep their guns in shoeboxes.
My assumption, it was in a shoebox. My assumption is that she probably wouldn't have wanted him to have it there.
Yeah.
It was clearly Brad's gun and hiding it there.
Mm-hmm.
But in that case, why would he hide it in a place that she's sure to be rooting through all the time?
Yes.
She's so excited for this baby.
Yeah.
You think she's gonna just put the clothes in, fold the clothes and put them in there once? No, she's definitely pulling all those clothes out and be like, I gotta refold them.
Yeah. I mean, and then it's just like, although the room trashing scene reminds you of that scene from Wet Hot American Summer, when they're...
I've not actually seen it. I know what it is, but I've not actually seen it. Yeah. I've seen the movie that inspired it. Most camp movies from the 80s, but fucking Sleepaway Camp is definitely inspires it.
If people watch Wet Hot American Summer, you might know what the scene I'm talking about. For people who don't, there's a scene where Janine Garofalo and Joe Trulio are looking for a phone that's ringing, and they just rip apart. Like, where's the phone? Where is it? And they just like rip apart the nurse's station, and they just start like flipping the table. They knock everything off the shelf, and it's absolutely, I piss myself laughing every single time I watch it. But
because she's torn her house apart, she misses a call from Brad because she like the answering machine is plugged in, but her phone is God only knows where because she has a early days cordless.
Yeah.
And then every phone in the world goes off in her head.
So it's like the end of the Lawnmower Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she wakes up on an upturned couch and she grabs her notepad and starts doodling again, those same like triangle, circle, square.
Yeah.
And then she realizes that her little demon baby is tracing the same shapes like in uterus, because you can see it like her pressing up against her stomach.
Which freaks me the fuck out.
And then I was wondering,
I've been around pregnant people where you see that like kick and there's like a weird little foot imprint, and I'm just like, nah.
No.
Get your ass out of here.
Oh, I think it's cute. I've high-fived.
Oh God.
God.
Yeah.
We could tell, like, out of the three of us, who's gonna have kids.
Part of it was working with babies for like 5 years. You just kind of get used to them, and like you get used to seeing pregnant women because like a lot of people or women would bring their like toddlers, and they they'd be having a second one kind of thing. And so the belly thing is always weird though, because obviously like don't be a creep and just touch someone's belly because they're
don't
pregnant.
be Alicia
People
here.
tend to like lose all sense of boundaries
They
with
do.
pregnant women. It seems it's really
but
strange.
Also, strangely enough, like you will be invited to touch bellies.
I'd be like, no, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, and like my thing was never like oh, I want to like feel your stomach. But it was always just like, oh, I don't want to be rude, right? But then eventually, like, you will get those times where, like, oh, like, they're like, oh, feel the baby kick, right? And it's kind of cute. Like, you're just like, oh my God, yeah, they're just going to town in there.
It's freaky. I don't like it.
Her mom shows up.
Yeah,
now,
but like,
she was supposed to pick her up at the airport, so she just kind of shows up by cab.
Yeah. Do you think that? So I was trying to figure out like the extent of the baby powers. Do you think it can see through her eyes, or do you think it's like got supervision and can see through her uterus to see the shit?
I think it's like almost psychic.
It's a psychic connection, right? Yeah,
because there's some other psychic shit
there is
later.
that goes
so
on.
I think
Okay.
it's a psychic link because that's why she's doing it and it knows and it's copying it.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So Virginia's mom. So her mom arrives, looks around, and is rightfully kind of like, oh
concerned.
boy, yeah, I'm concerned about this. I feel like she should maybe be more concerned, but I like that she immediately is like, did Brad do this? Fucking Brad.
Yeah. What did Brad do?
Brad.
I'm sure it's what she says.
Yeah.
Like,
Or did Brad do this to you? Yeah. And Virginia's like, oh, I'm okay. Everything's okay, which is the least convincing thing I've heard in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, what time is it? I'm supposed to be on TV.
And then immediately we're just like, oh, right, you've got your television show right now.
Yeah.
Which was a nice little like almost sitcom-y moment of like mother shows up and is just like, oh, I tore my house apart. I woke up on the thing. I've got a demon baby, and I'm gonna be on TV.
Yeah.
So that was good. She and I think her mother go to the the television station.
Yeah.
And so they immediately meet the host, who is a tremendous
raging,
bitch.
Raging bitch.
Yeah.
But also, like, I feel like a lot of, talk show hosts are. Like, I think that she's like almost like an Ellen. Like, she's
like a proto Ellen type of thing.
Like a proto Ellen, where she's just like, all right, everybody, let's have a good time. And then like, as soon as like cameras are off, she's like backhanding a
like,
PA.
where's my fucking latte?
Yeah. She's like waterboarding a technician because like he put the light on her wrong.
So I enjoyed it. It was a kind of hard to watch scene, but at the same time you're just like, I enjoyed it.
It was amazing.
Oh,
Virginia shows up like she's been on a fucking heroin bender.
Yes. Like as soon as you see her through the camera, like the television camera there. And my only note was Virginia looks like she's going to die right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like cuz she's leaning forward, she's holding her stomach. And the host, I love how like blissfully just like not aware the host is, because the host is doing like her normal bubbly thing. She's like, you got this book at the start. Like, meanwhile, Virginia's just there like trying not to explode. And
so you wrote a book, The Magic Window. I don't want to talk about that.
She's like, well, we're gonna get back to it. Yeah.
We'll circle back.
And
Yeah.
The line,
God, it's a nightmare.
yes. I was like, this is,
how was
this is
pregnancy?
perfect.
God, it's a
It's a
nightmare.
nightmare.
And then she like rolls with it. She's like, oh, I was pregnant once. I do know how much of a nightmare it can be.
So my general note was the show does not go well. So Virginia basically, she's having a bit of a mental break, as well as she collapses from the stress and like. What did they have to cut to a rerun?
I wrote that down. There's a guy yelling, "Cue up a rerun! Cue up a rerun!"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dude, damage is done." I don't know when.
You're not.
This is why you work with the delay, but I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, just like why not just like cut to commercial?
Yeah.
Like,
So Virginia ends up back at Dr. Meyerling's clinic,
which is so throughout this whole movie, he's like so sure that everything's okay. It's like, oh, you just like your fucking stomach just ruptured.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
your stomach ruptured live on TV.
Oh yeah, because he says he's like, naval rupture is common.
Yeah,
and I was like, is it though? I didn't look it up, but I'm like,
well, because I'm just like, I'm talking to Meyerling at this point. I'm like, well, look, buddy, neither of us are doctors. Should either of us be saying this? Like, really?
Like, where did you get your degree? Like WebMD? Like,
should we at some point bring in an actual medical professional?
I would feel like she would go to the actual hospital, not the clinic.
Yeah,
like they would go like an actual doctor's, be like, holy shit, what the fuck is with this baby?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But
so the only thing I can think of is the only reason is that she would have been seen by like a private ambulance company because they're in the States. And usually they'll be like, where do you want to go? Right. Because different people, different insurance levels and stuff. Right. So I think if like maybe her mother was like, oh, she's been seeing this doctor here, and that's maybe why they took it. Or maybe I'm just thinking too much and the movie was just like, how we're going to bring her back to the evil doctor.
We already got one hospital, so we don't need two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The hospital said that's like actually in a corporate office.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's in a business park somewhere, right? Like, it's wild. So
is this where we find Beth?
Yeah, we are going to find her in a minute. First, we get Dr. Meyerling assuring her mother that she's fine. Yeah. Naval ruptures are totally a thing that happen all the time. So sometimes your stomach just does a little blood geyser. That's totally fine.
It's totally fine.
And Virginia, she pretends to sleep for a little bit, then dramatically wakes up when the nurse leaves her room.
Yeah.
Walks down the hallway straight into a cart, which I thought was pretty funny because this is like a big like hospital hallway, and she finds the only cart to collide with. But luckily she doesn't get caught because a staff person comes, but she ducks into the nearest room, which is not like it says like medical staff only. But at first I thought it was going to be like a supply closet, but it's actually like a bunch of beds. Like it's a big like room. And of course, she immediately just starts throwing curtains back, as you do when you are just snooping around in a hospital.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I paid for this semi-private.
Yeah.
Can't just be doing that.
It was me after my surgery. I just started like going throughout the rooms and ripping.
What are you here for?
Do you want to see my scar?
Yeah, you want to see it?
I'll show you mine.
Yeah.
And she just happens to stumble upon Beth. And Beth looks like the sweatiest corpse you've ever seen. Like she was like a corpse that got invited to like 3 sweat lodges, and she didn't want to be rude, right? Like,
I think it's like she's supposed to be in a coma. Now, I'm not a doctor. Obviously, Dr. Meyer's not.
It should be the name of this episode. I am not a doctor.
Not a doctor. But I would feel like she would have like an oxygen tube like down her throat to help her breathe.
Yes. Yeah.
Or like monitors hooked up to her, not her just lying in a bed. Yeah. But then again, like she's just probably just an incubator.
It does seem this way.
I think she is because Virginia pulls the blanket back, and where her the view of her pregnant stomach looks like the baby is in one of those like vacuum seal things, like a vacuum sealed steak, or like what used for
like it's supposed to do like some sous vide, but like it's a baby,
and the baby is like pressed right up against it. Like this vacuum seal was around the child, which is hilarious. And then there's like a bunch of like guts and stuff under it. It's a hilarious scene. Like you're not expecting it. Because like the effects in this movie to this point haven't been like super over the top.
No.
But this is the first time you get to see one of the baby puppets, and oh boy.
Yeah. They're pretty fun.
Yeah.
I'm pretty into it. Yeah, this weird translucent thing that's pretty creepy looking.
Yeah.
So she freaks out and takes off.
Yeah.
So I think next she's in because she takes off and then she goes to a payphone.
Yeah. So she just like runs right out, kind of like their back like delivery area parking lot place, and she finds a payphone. And the weirdest thing about it was I was trying to think of like, oh, okay, immediately like she's going to call the police.
Yeah.
Right. She's not going to call the police.
No, she's not.
She's going to call LifeWorks.
Exactly.
and not only that,
You know
she doesn't have a quarter, so she has to first call the operator to try and get connected to them.
And then she calls them collect, I believe.
Yeah,
Like,
she calls it collect. But when she gets the number,
she writes it in the glass. Like she fogs it.
But she doesn't do any fog. She just like draws the number on the glass, which leaves behind nothing.
No trace. Yeah. In case you want the phone number for LifeWorks, that's 555-4621. You're going to have to look up the area code. They didn't give it to us.
But her call goes unanswered because there is a violent dispute happening in this household.
You know what? Like, this is just like Gloria. Like, she was like, she looks like Bruce Banner from The Incredible Hulk.
She's just like ripping out of her clothes.
Yeah, because there's nothing but tattered things. You know, she's it's a domestic dispute, but it's just like murderous baby is causing like this lesbian to go Hulk out. You know, you would think like vegans. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Vegan listeners, you know, do what you want, but it's just you would think that they wouldn't have like the mass amount, and unless she's like the liver king, except the tofu king, and she's just taking steroids. Yeah.
You know, you can text your vegetable protein. You can get far on that.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually my main protein because it's cheap and I can put it in everything.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah.
So yeah, Gloria's having a super soldier psychic baby like rage moment. The baby's essentially using her as like a mech. And fighting the other lesbian.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy violent fight that goes on for a while.
We should mention that Gloria has a hammer this whole time. So her intent is pretty clear here. This isn't I'm gonna rough you up. This is
she's like hitting her in the face with a hammer.
Yeah.
It goes on for a while too, because it's like the fight in They Live that's like goes on for like 4 minutes of ridiculous.
This scene is interspersed with her with Virginia's message, right? Because they have an answering machine and it's playing while this fight scene is going on. I thought about this and I was like, this was like a uniquely wonderful moment in time where you could have that, because another movie that came out around the same time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, had a fight scene in April O'Neil's her little antique shop,
her antique store, because her boss calls and fires her.
And you listen to this while this is going on, and I thought, man, like this is such a I love the idea of like someone leaving a message for you, but like meanwhile you're getting strangled and you're in this life and death thing. And I was like, I can't happen anymore, right? Like it just doesn't. That technology is so out of date. But it the whole time I was just like, I was remembering Ninja Turtles. So the scene made me happy, I guess is what I'm saying. And so Virginia's basically begging her to pick up. She's saying something's wrong. She needs to talk to her, and you know, like I mean, the penny drops a little too late here, I think, for poor Connie.
But then Connie, she does pick up the phone.
And Connie's actually doing pretty well in this fight up until does she rip off the bandage, or does the bandage just come off of Gloria's neck?
I thought she ripped it off.
I think she rips it off,
She's like, blah, it's all
gross and she sees it, and it's gross and it's purpley and pulsating. And like that just like stuns her, and then Gloria gets the better of her, knocks her to the ground with a hammer, and Connie just gets to the phone and screams to call the police.
Exactly.
When you hear the hammer blows on the other end. And, I love that Virginia then is just like, I guess I'll just walk over there and see what's up. And Virginia is still like in a gown, kind of like in a nightgown that I assume she got from the hospital. But I hope it wasn't far from this business park to wherever LifeWorks was.
Yeah.
But so she travels to this now crime scene, and there's a bunch of onlookers, there's a bunch of police and stuff, and they're taking Connie out under in a stretcher under a blanket, and Gloria's there being led away. I love that Virginia just like casually walks around the police that are like holding everyone else back. They don't seem to notice this woman who is just like, what's happening
in a hospital gown.
In a hospital gown, yeah. There's just this pregnant woman in a hospital gown just walking into your crime scene. That's normal. And so she sees Gloria. Gloria kind of tries to get to her.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was like an aggressive thing or if that was just like how is your super baby pregnancy coming along? Right? Maybe she just wanted to catch up. I wasn't 100% on that. Cop finally notices her and is like, hey, what's up? Maybe you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So then we get the scene wherein Virginia arrives at home, apropos the police that come and drop her off. I love that the police officer knocks on the door like she's like a 16-year-old that was out like joyriding, right? And it's just like, this your kid? Like,
and it is her mom.
It is her mom.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't
she's
know.
like,
Your adult pregnant daughter, shouldn't be out wandering the streets.
Yeah,
and her mom's just like, oh, okay, I'll take care of her. Like,
yeah.
Her mom always seems like one step kind of removed from reality, but we do hear earlier on in the movie that she is an alcoholic, so we don't know if she's ever quite like all there.
Yeah.
She helps Virginia wherever she can, but you always get the sense that she's not as worried or as upset as you maybe think she should be, right? And that might be
more like stepmom energy than her.
Yeah, she's like, I'm invested, but I can't really get too involved.
Except for that one time where she thought Brad was behind something. Because if she had said yes, like she's gonna pull like a Bowie knife out of her back pocket and be like, I'm gonna skin that bitch. Like, but beyond that, Virginia at this point, before I get to that, I love that the police officer also asks no questions about the trashed house.
Oh yeah.
And I know like he's really just supposed to be driving her up, but like he could have been like, is everything all right here?
Yeah.
Like, because you're a police officer, you should be kind of thinking that, things might be related to other things. You find this pregnant woman out walking in the middle of the night next to this crime scene. You get her back home. Her house is trashed.
I mean, it's the 90s.
She probably still has her hospital I don't think she has a hospital bracelet because not a real hospital, but she might have a hospital bracelet on. But anyway, the cop doesn't have. He's probably got other places to be or something.
Vagina. Sorry,
it had been a while.
It had been a while. So
people were sobering up.
Yeah. So I had to say something.
So Virginia has decided that she wants no part of this baby. She wants to kill the hell out of this baby. And, her mother is just like, oh, are we sure about this? But she goes with her and
Well, at first I think she's like, what would Brad think?
Yeah.
I wrote down not Brad's abortion.
Yeah. Fuck Brad. But like she like goes to like the liquor cart that's like, I think the way that their house is like spaced out, like at the very beginning, it looked like a small apartment. And then like now it looks like
just gets bigger and bigger.
It gets bigger and bigger. Yeah. It is just like, there's like this random like liquor cart. And then she like pours whiskey, drinks it, and then she emerges a cigarette out of thin air. And I was just like, where did she get it? Because I don't think I've ever
no pockets on that gown.
No.
It's actually it comes standard at the clinic. Like you just get them in the hospital gowns. It's a complimentary thing, like a mint.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you just get a pack of smokes.
Oh yeah. It's the 90s.
Yeah. They take off to the abortion clinic, which I was so glad that she didn't immediately go the Beth route. I didn't want to see any more pregnant woman stabbing herself in the stomach moments, but I was worried that's what we were gonna get.
Yeah.
Get to the clinic. The clinician there is just like, well, you're obviously like moments away from giving birth. This isn't how this works. I'm so sorry, right? Like she's very like sympathetic, but she's like, maybe counseling. Because she is like the one reasonable person left in this movie.
Yeah. Because like she was like, oh, I can't do it because it's illegal.
Yeah, it would be super duper illegal. Yeah. So Virginia storms off. And we get
the abortion salesman. The fact that this guy's
he's
hanging out in the hallway.
$100.
Like, no one noticed that this guy's been hanging out in the hallways every once in a while. I feel it's so strange.
It was so creepy.
Skeevy, and I feel like he should just be like have like a toothpick in his mouth and like flipping a coin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like he should have opened up like a trench coat.
Hey,
it's like, oh look, these are the tools that I use.
Yeah.
And then the other guy who does the abortion looks like fucking Mick Foley.
Yeah. So, this is like back alley abortion team to the rescue here. They have this basement room that they use where they have like, they do have a setup.
Like
so
forceps.
Yeah, this isn't their first rodeo, which is so concerning.
And then when they both look at her vagina and they're both disgusted.
Oh, Josh says it.
It's like they've never seen one before. They'd be like, oh my God, the fucking gun went off down here.
So there's
and then they said like
candy apple time.
Which is like,
what? Does anyone know what that meant?
No idea what that
I
means.
stopped the movie and I went back 3 times because I was like, what are you saying?
It's candy
Nothing
apple
about the
time.
process of candying an apple can I then turn into a euphemism for
Yeah.
abortion.
Yeah.
Or like, is it like for the chloroform or something? Like,
Yeah, the fact that they used chloroform, they have other drugs and needles and stuff around, and they just knock her out with chloroform.
yeah, quick and easy.
Yeah, yeah. The way they seems to when he gets a look at her, and he seems to he goes through this weird dialogue with the other one, including candy apple time, and then he's just like he apologizes that they need to like knock her out. And I was like, that should have been standard, right? Like, you're not going to do this to a woman that you've not given any kind of painkillers to, right? Like, you were, at this point, you are basically forcing her to give birth, right?
Yeah,
this is how this is happening, right? There ain't no other option here. Or otherwise, this is like a C-section kind of thing. Either way, she should not be in her right mind for this.
Yeah.
And so you get the chloroform rag over the mouth, which can absolutely kill you. Don't do that to people.
It
Any
also
kind
doesn't
of
knock you out
anesthetic.
immediately.
No, it does not.
It takes
It's-
a while.
yeah,
because
that-
like you just get high. Like, initially,
Yeah.
people like huff chloroform.
Um,
And we kind of skip over the rest of this stuff.
Thank
God.
Yeah.
Oh my
we sort of
God,
just go back to.
I was
to
really
her.
worried the movie wasn't going to skip over this part. Just sometimes,
So
man.
I
Yeah.
think
It's the
we go-
miracle
I don't know
of
if we've-
back alley abortions.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we see her driving back home or
Yeah.
what happens. with the-
So we get to Brad because Brad taped the show.
And he's like, he's really just like, hey guys, my wife is gonna be on TV.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tape it. You know, we
Yeah.
can
I
show
got
it
the
to our
I got the
kids.
VCR program. No need to vet
No.
this.
Yeah, and he's like, ooh,
Yeah. So he's watching the show, and so he just gets kind of done
The freak out.
stomach explosion and the freak out. That's when they get in, her and her mom.
Mhm.
And I have to tell you, for someone who just had a serious operation or basically like gave birth, Virginia seems fine. Like, not in her right mind, but physically, I felt like that she should be coming back in a wheelchair. Maybe
Yeah.
a little bit.
yeah. I don't think she'd be able to walk.
Yeah.
man.
The baby's gone, which we see because she is very clearly not pregnant anymore.
Mhm.
Her line to Brad, I got rid of it.
Mhm.
And Brad freaks out, which I think is completely reasonable at this point because 2 days ago
for about 3 seconds, it's
Yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Because then she knows that he fucking let
Well,
them
yeah.
experiment on her.
Well,
She
he-
says
he-
it right there.
does she there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's while she's
Okay.
sitting there because she's like you knew, didn't you? And he
Yeah.
doesn't say anything, and she's just like because she
'Cause
tries to like test him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I put Brad's her. Yeah, mom is super helpful with this.
And I wrote
Oh,
down,
yeah, Brad
I
knew
wrote
about
down,
Myling's
screw you
experience
for
or
being
whatever.
mad I experimented on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but baby, you wouldn't be able to like have our baby, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah. Didn't
Yeah.
consult with her.
Didn't-
Yeah, and even after admitting culpability to letting him do extra weird shit to
Yeah.
the fetus, he then is still like mad and like storms out, like
Yeah.
even though he's totally in the fucking wrong.
like this is
The weird part was to me the way that he explained it. So the way that Meyerling explained it to him, like the way he's telling this story, is just like, hey, we're gonna do a little bit to give your baby a fighting chance. We're gonna,
Yeah.
like the way that he explained it, I feel like if he or Meyerling had told her all of this stuff
Yeah.
going down,
Mm.
she would have been like, yeah, like we've had these problems before. Like I don't think there was any reason for him not to,
yeah.
other than Meyerling was like, just don't, like,
I
just
feel
don't.
I feel like
I-
Meyerling was like, okay, you're gonna splooge into this little like cup, and
Mhm.
then I'm gonna start experimenting on your splooge, and then there you go.
Yeah.
There's so many gross names for fucking like I always hated when people said jism.
Oh. No, that's-
you can taste that one when you say it.
Oh,
Dude.
that is the
Spunk.
worst.
Spunk is also pretty awesome. Spunk sounds
is
like
bad.
it has a
Jism
smell.
is worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. I
my
think
God.
it's just the movie's lazy way of their having.
Yes.
They needed her
Yeah.
to have some revelation, and
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's a lazy way of just like, oh, something was withheld from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus,
Yeah.
I don't know, so them having some other kind
Yeah.
of thing
But
come up.
So
this movie is like especially for the time is like strangely like kind of progressive in the sort of sense of like a
it
little
really
bit.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
just being like, I mean, you do have like that lesbian stereotype, but you do have like the thing of women wanting to have reproductive rights and like wanting to be control of their bodies.
Mhm.
And this is definitely like a horror story of, you know,
men controlling pregnancy. Because
Exactly.
as we'll get to it in a minute,
Yeah.
there's like a very extreme level of men controlling
Exactly.
pregnancy at the end of this.
exactly.
Yeah, it is really a horror story for women when
Yeah.
you get down to it, right? Like I think this movie, and I was going to save this for final thoughts, but in a lot of ways, I was really disturbed by parts of this movie because of my time at the library, right? I really like kids. I really like working with kids and working with babies and stuff. So movies where there's like harm to babies or pregnant women and stuff, like it really makes me uncomfortable.
Mhm.
So for an example for you, Train Spotting, love Train Spotting, but the scene with where they find the baby in the cradle, I can't watch it. I can't. It really bothers me to see it. But I know that's just kind of like a learned thing for me.
Yeah.
But if you're a woman and you're thinking about pregnancy, movies like this, right? Like this is hitting on a lot of fears, including like control, of course, being a huge part of the theming around this movie, but just also all of the things that can go wrong, right? Because we see it run kind of a gambit of things that are at least related to very common pregnancy issues that I'm sure keep people up at night, right? So it's as weird and as crazy as this movie gets, right? I still think it could hit people and like actually like be scary.
Yeah.
It's an effective body horror movie.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because an
Yeah.
effective body horror usually takes something natural and
Yeah.
and plays with it. And so in this sense,
Mhm.
pregnancy, and then a pregnancy gone wrong and things like that.
Because
And
like, because nothing makes me cringe more than like pregnancy scenes. Like, especially like me, like as a woman, like I'm not gonna have kids. I mean, who knows? Maybe 5 years down the line, I'll have like little mini businessmen that I will turn into little business sociopaths. I'm gonna be such a
I have the clinic for you.
thank you.
Yeah, they'll help you
You
out.
know what? I want
Do
to
you
have
need-
super genetically
do you want him to have
superior.
51 chromosomes?
Yeah.
I can do
I
that.
would have- No, I want them to have 100 chromosomes.
Oh my god, just stuff my kid full of chromosomes.
Exactly.
Oh,
I
with
need
extra
them to be.
chromies.
I need them to be so efficient at everything.
Yeah. So Brad leaves here very upset.
Mm-hmm.
This is a point where I kind of put in my own note. Has anyone found the poor cat yet?
No,
They
it's
never
like,
because
no
she,
one's
it's not-
mentioned it because
yeah,
she
she
sort
puts
of
it
just
down
left
like
it.
on a chair or something.
exactly.
And like maybe the mother could have a throwaway line like, I noticed your cat is dead on the chair.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
It's like throughout this movie, the cat is there, and then it's forgotten.
Mhm. Now we have Virginia kind of alone by herself.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the wrecked baby room, and she kind of breaks down looking at
Yeah.
the various stuff for the baby. And at this point, we get a fun little thing where you start to hear a baby softly crying in the background.
Although it sounds like a cat. I thought it was like the cat.
Yeah.
Like, I thought
The
this
cat
was
was
like
back.
the cat was back.
Oh my god, what a twist if this movie was really about a ghost cat coming back for revenge.
Yeah.
Just throw out the rest of it. They're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like the final
No,
girl circuit is her running around her house from this cat.
That woman was right about the cat shit, and,
Yeah.
and she's been like she's been having cat shit hallucinations the
Oh my
whole time.
God, yeah. Everything was totally fine. It was just cat shit hallucinations.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get this sort of distant
Mhm.
fetus cry,
Yeah.
but which is actually a psychic
Yeah.
fetus
Yeah,
cry
yeah.
because of her link to
Mhm.
her recently aborted baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
And on her way back to finding it, we get this fucking out of pocket scene with
Thank you.
a man
Yeah,
who
exactly.
has one arm and no legs on a weird little skateboard.
Yeah.
I was like,
And
what the fuck?
Just to set the scene for that tableau, she gets in her car and she drives towards like the abortion alley where she
Yeah.
went, and she gets into the alley itself, and she's walking towards a dumpster, and she hears this rattling in this, like around this dumpster, and yeah, we see a poor, I assume to be a homeless man with one limb on a skateboard, just kind of propelling himself with his one arm. And he looks up at her and he's got this odd smile and he just pushes past her. And that's, what was that?
I don't
It
know.
was
Yeah,
so
it was like he
out
was-
of pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like,
He was like their tattoo, like he's
Yeah.
like for the abortion clinic. He
Yeah.
he like waits for people and greets them.
yeah, he's the greeter like at Walmart.
Yeah.
Oh.
But like, I feel like, what kind of casting call would you have for that?
Mhm.
Like, It's
Well,
like,
they do casting calls like that all the time where they're
Oh,
like
yeah.
people missing limbs, like zombie movies do that
Yeah, yeah.
especially. They're like, yo, if you only have one arm, let's dress it up to look like it just got ripped off.
You know what? If I was like an amputee of some sort, I would be so down for that. Because like that'd just be fun, right?
yeah.
Like I think
the
they would just have a good
horrors
time.
of war and having all your limbs blasted off,
Yeah.
and then you're just like, cool, I get to be a zombie, or I get to ride on a skateboard
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
this TV movie.
No, it's probably less fun. Yeah, if you have like war PTSD, but like if you were born with it or something, or you know. So,
I used to work on a farm.
So, so she approaches the dumpster. The music died at some point in this scene, which was a fun choice, but I didn't mind that. I thought it, would have made it there. And then we open the dumpster, and of course we get our baby cry jump scare.
Yeah.
For
Which
our
I didn't
fetus.
see anything. I kept rewinding and rewinding.
It's
like the toilet
It was the
scene.
same thing that came out of the toilet. It was this nondescript, like
Just
black
Bleh.
thing.
shape.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
weird shape that they just moved that they have.
Yeah. Brad now arrives back at home. He's cooled down a little bit. And we get a lovely scene of him coming into the house, and we get kind of that classic horror mother in the rocking chair.
Yeah,
just-
I love
and he's
that
coming
so
in
much.
and he's apologizing, right?
Yeah.
And she's not really saying anything. And he gets around the corner to her. And
It's like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah. She's breastfeeding. The craziest special effect I've ever
my God.
seen in my life.
all I could write down was Play-Doh baby, because
Oh yeah,
this
it's like
is-
misshapen. It was like a action figure that got put in a microwave
yeah.
for like 5 seconds. It's like a little off.
Yeah.
because it's not as gruesome and misshapen as you think when you're building it up in your head. Because I was thinking like a real like baby Belial from Basket Case type of deal.
Yeah.
But he really isn't. He's just like he's kind of like a naked mole rat baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
It's like Andrew Tate.
yeah. As we said before, this is the documentary. Like this is her early
It was
early
actually
childhood.
like a whole movie for Andrew Tate's first day at home from the hospital.
Heartwarming family memories.
Exactly.
And she looks up. I think she just says, "Help me," right? 'Cause
Yeah.
She at this point we get the idea like she can't really help herself at this point. Like this baby's just like, "Hey, yeah, I'm doing baby stuff. You can't stop me."
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah, and he's having a little drink, and I think Brad's words is something like,
It's horrible.
The shot composition of this is amazing.
God,
so
so
we go from baby breastfeeding to no longer breastfeeding. So keep in mind, every time we cut over to the baby, most of the screen is a tit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we cut to Brad. He says it's hideous. We cut back to the baby, which is now gone. It's like fucking Big Trouble in Little China when Buddy's head explodes. The baby's eyes have turned red and it's screaming.
yeah.
And then it gets to like the baby's POV. Of
Like
just, Brad's
the
staring
furrowed
at it.
brow on this thing. Like you can't, like it's not possible to furrow your brow as much as this baby has. And because he's got no eyebrows because he's a baby, but like they molded these huge scowl on this baby because he has just met his father and already he is full on murder mode.
Head's shaped like a fucking light
Yeah,
bulb.
and-
like
So throughout the movie, we've gotten shots of these knitting needles that her mother has
Chekhov's
sent.
knitting needles.
Yeah. And we've seen these about 4 times. And I kept
sent her
waiting
knitting needles and a Joy of Knitting book,
Yes.
so she was trying to learn.
Yeah. And throughout the movie at various points, I thought, okay, this is where we're gonna, and I really thought where she was like, this baby's gotta die. That's when, she would grab a knitting needle or something and do something gruesome.
Yeah.
But the knitting needles are by her on the rocking chair.
Yeah.
And I was just so pleased
Oh,
when the baby reaches over with
not
his
just-
giant baby biceps, takes this knitting needle and fucking drives it into Brad's skull.
And we don't do any editing tricks.
Oh,
we
no.
show this plain and straight
Yeah,
off.
exactly.
Because
Grr.
the baby, the way the puppet is, it's like it's just on a stick. Because the baby doesn't like turn its torso. Just
No.
reach. The whole baby's body just like turns like so like
Yeah.
a full turn like till grabs a thing, whoop, and then the whole body whips back
Yeah.
again. And yeah, just straight stabs it in the eye with its crazy rage face.
Yeah.
And fucking Brad is out.
The only thing I could think of seeing that was, oh, there's your problem. Someone set this baby to murder.
Yeah.
like a Chucky doll. It was fantastic. And Brad does this great like scream back up and falls dead on the bed.
It's. I mean, okay, so this baby obviously has like the strength to like take and stab it into a grown man's eye.
Yeah.
Like
I love this because this baby is such a champ. Like he came out like he is such a Chad. Because like I've seen day old newborns.
Yeah.
Do you know what day old newborns do?
Yeah.
They do nothing.
They shit themselves. They cry.
Yeah, they don't open their eyes. They won't open their eyes for the first like few days. Like
those are fucking beta cucks of babies. Okay,
yeah. So anyone listening who has a day old baby, get your baby's shit together. You go into your baby's room right now. You give them a 20-pound dumbbell. And just be like, you don't get any milk until I see you bench pressing this baby. Because your baby needs to catch up.
Yeah, they need to be an alpha male.
Yeah.
Baby Chad. You know they're gonna get as soon as they're out of the womb, they're getting bitches.
Yeah,
they're getting gains. And they're getting mad smart.
I told you we were going to be done with all that woke shit off the top of this episode. Really leaning into it.
Yeah. So Virginia freaks out and she goes to get the gun. Arthur Chekhov's actual gun here.
Scuttling around the house
so the baby just gets somewhere here. The baby just fucking disappears. Like Solid Snake just blends into the background, right? Oh, yeah. And so this is... Virginia now is out for blood, though. She's got the gun, and she drags her mom along. And her mother, what a saint! Your daughter, who is going through a very clear mental break, who is armed at this point, and did the mother see her come back with this baby? She must have, right? Like the mother was in the house. Well, she was. Oh no, she was asleep. She was drunk. Yeah.
But then again, like,
drinking away all of the memories of this movie, which A+. Great plan.
Also, like, you know, the mom's like ride or die. You know?
Oh, she is. Yeah.
She's just like
like you wish you had a friend like Virginia's mom.
My mom, Ann Hill, she is
ride or die. She would be ride or die?
She's ride or die.
Like, you would come home with a gun and you'd be like, Mom, get in the car. We gotta go.
Yeah, she's like, okay, where are we going?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Nobody fucks with Ann Hill. Hi, Mom.
And
please don't listen to this.
So,
I don't need my parents listening to this.
No, I don't need my parents.
Virginia's going to the source now. She is going to Dr. Meyerling's clinic. So this is sometime in the evening. We're never really kind of given. It's nighttime. We're not sure how late it is.
We get a good shot of the baby on board sticker on with the blood
with the
smeared on it.
Yeah,
it's like aliens. It's hiding in the car somewhere.
Yeah, blood on board.
And so she goes and she confronts Dr. Meyerling, who is in his mad scientist lab doing mad science. And he's like trying to talk her down. And he's just like, no, we're making better babies, is his line, which I really love.
Better babies.
Better babies.
And then she's telling about all the awful things that have happened to all these mothers, and he's like, I'm sorry for that, but where we're going, we don't need mothers anymore.
He says, no more mothers is what he ends
up.
No more
mothers.
Yeah.
And so we go into a room with like
the baby bubbles,
racks of like babies inside weird fleshy bubbles.
Yeah. And oh man, this is so good. So Virginia and Meyerling, they start to tussle now. I don't know if he goes for her gun or something, but
I think she just aims again.
Oh, I think she aims, and then he tries to stop her, and there's the scuffle. She ends up shooting Meyerling and somewhere in the chest, and he falls over and dies. Yeah. And this was another.
She's about to leave.
She's about to turn and leave, and then she just starts blasting.
Takes aim and starts shooting.
And then I just start blasting.
And it's not just like you break the amniotic sac or whatever. Oh, no. She's like getting straight one-shotting these fetuses and they explode.
Unlike
and they make the crazy cat sound when they explode. Like,
unlike most of the protagonists that we've seen in these movies so far, she is like a dead eye right away. She's just like, no. I was born to shoot babies. Yeah. And she just and the bubbles explode. The dolls, the baby puppets or dolls inside of them are just hilarious because they start exploding.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because she shoots out the bubbles, but then there's a real time delay where she's shooting it, and then the babies, I guess, because they're super psychic babies or something, or they're whatever feedback is coming to get them, they start bursting.
I assumed it was because she was direct shotting the babies and they're exploding.
Yeah.
But then the exploded baby slop starts pouring onto the face of Dr. Miley. He's just getting this like baby slop bukkake, and it's so fucking awful.
Josh, in however long we end up doing this podcast, can you never say baby slop bukkake again? Just as a personal favor. I am so oh god. So yeah, the babies explode. Virginia, she leaves. We see Virginia and her mom in the car.
Yeah.
And as we've been set up for, the baby appears by her mom's feet. Her mom is driving.
Yeah.
And
like her mom is just like, okay, Virginia, you're sick.
And Virginia has like her like fucking like Terminator future like revision about the future, and everything's gonna go to shit, and we're all gonna be slaves to super soldiers and more mothers.
And the baby appears by her feet, and it turns and it starts biting her.
A literal ankle biter.
Yeah. And my note was, with what teeth exactly is this baby biting you? Because as far as I can tell, even with the puppetry that we've seen some extreme close-ups of this baby, it doesn't have its teeth, seeing as it is 1 day old.
Yeah.
So,
but
if
the
that's
doctor
enough,
did say that they grow super fast. In like a few years.
Because when she went to go get the abortion, they were like, "You're in your 3rd trimester," and she was like, "I'm not though."
Yeah,
she hasn't been pregnant that long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So like maybe the baby just grew like little like sharp teeth.
Oh, it probably did. Yeah. The baby does whatever it needs to do, I guess.
Exactly.
That's what real Chads do. And
real Chads grow their teeth day one.
Yeah.
They don't have like those fucking soy boy beta cock gums. That's a phrase I never thought I'd heard.
We've said that so many times in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. You're gonna start. It's gonna start losing the ironic thing.
Exactly.
You just start believing it.
I come back. I shave my head. I'm like, listen here, you soy boy beta cocks. Real women are fucking chats.
I don't think we ever said this before Gabby started being on the show. Wow,
exactly.
She's a really bad influence on us.
I know.
So the baby causes the car to go out of control, and they do probably a good half dozen flips along the highway. And at this point, I'm just like, oh my god, does this movie end the same way that Daughters of Darkness ended?
Yeah,
because this is what like. Do we end with a car crash? The baby's impaled on on a stick and it bursts into flames. Later on, we see Virginia at a club. But then she just makes baby noises because I was so on board for that.
She's like in another like baby class. There's like
there's another LeMay's class. Yeah. And they're just like, oh hey, like they're just like, how far along are you? And she's like, unfortunately though, we don't get that. But we do get, after the car crashes a little bit later, we see Virginia's mother splayed out on the road. She looks pretty dead. We never get a confirmation on that. Virginia crawls out from the car's on its hood. She crawls out from the broken back window, and you see framed by a glorious, I think, sunrise. The baby who is like on a rock, just like almost like kind of like the Lion King. Like I in my head, the baby was like roaring triumphantly.
There's something awkwardly triumphant about it. Like you feel like the 2001 theme's gonna kick in. I expected the baby. I thought the baby was gonna stand. I thought the baby was gonna stand up.
The baby was like, I think the baby was like kind of standing.
It was
like
sort of crawling and holding itself up, but then she crawls up to it.
Yeah.
And I forget what she says, but it has serious like, oh baby, we got a lot of work to do kind of energy. Like she's just reserved herself to not just caving its fucking head in now and leaving.
Yeah, I love that because you do get the sense that like, the last ounce of her will to fight this thing has gone. And you get some fun fades in between the two of them. And then she's just something to that degree of like,
It's okay. Everything's gonna be all right.
Where she's resigned herself to taking care of this, and then the movie ends. So we're not sure what really happens there, but we fade to our credits. Oh boy! Wow, this movie! Wow, this movie!
I love how much like you gotta wade through. That's still crazy, but you can also like almost take more seriously. It's more disturbing, and then once we get the baby shit, it's like also fucked up shit happening. But it's just so out of left field.
Yeah.
It's like and this like the fact that this movie like you have to kind of go looking for it, and more people don't talk about it is the thing that always gets me. That it's just so fucking crazy.
It was not what I was expecting, because I was like, oh, 91, you know, you're into like the grunge like era. I thought it was gonna be really grimy and stuff like that. But this is just like, it's like a time capsule of the 80s.
Well, 91, and I've said this on the podcast before, and I'll say it a million times. 87 and 93 is like its own weird decade.
Yeah. It's just like, it was just like nothing but synth. You know, you've got like the super bare like white walls of like the like it almost like I'll say it once, say it again. It's like corporate hell. You know, you're just like it's just 80s, and then it was
Brad might as well be an ad executive.
Exactly.
It's like he has some 100%. Nondescript job that clearly makes a bunch of money.
It's just business, you know. It's just like you feel like he's like working next to like Patrick Bateman.
Yeah. It's kind of like the early aughts where you had any romantic comedy. The female lead was always working at as a magazine executive, or she was some nondescript like advertising job, right? And you're just like, okay, like you just needed a generic thing for them to do as a background.
Yeah.
But I think the stuff that I did like, they did a good job of being the B-movie version of something like Rosemary's Baby or The Exorcist, like the stuff in The Exorcist where you have the mom going to work and her kind of dealing with stuff, whereas Reagan's not more of a non-person in that movie. She doesn't have a lot of personality as a child. And the more the focus is on her. And so I liked that stuff when she's doing the investigating and kind of the taking charge and losing her mind and the horror of that. But, you know, they were able to do it well enough that it doesn't ever come across as lesser or bad, but it's clearly in the B-movie version of those things because it's more of a monster. It's almost a borderline creature feature.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. I mean, I love it because like normally what I think with like these movies where it's like a woman who's pregnant, she's going insane, stuff like that. Through like what we see is like what is really happening to her and to other people. You know, you see it and she's like, it's not just like this one woman against like everyone who's not going to believe her. Like you have like some people who are like, holy shit, this is happening, man. And then like, of course you have like, it's like the women believe her. And like the men are just like, you're crazy.
Well, yeah. Well, both both men in this movie who have like any real amount of lines are both bad. Yeah. Like they both were doing bad things to her. They both took away her autonomy. I guess Brad is like I think more complicit more so than like actively doing it.
I think you've got the well-intentioned complicitness with Brad, because you got to remember too, like both of them have really wanted this child, as well as like he's very clearly super excited about it as well. Like I have more. I mean, obviously you should have more sympathy for Brad than for Dr. Meyerling, but it is, it's kind of that interesting, well, maybe the penny could have dropped a little bit sooner had you told her about this, right? Yeah. And again, it goes back to the ideas of autonomy and control and that kind of thing, right? And then he is kind of complicit in taking some of that control from her. Mm-hmm. He's sort of a really absentee character for the important parts of the movie, right?
Yeah.
And I think it kind of speaks to the horror of having to do something like that on your own, right? Yeah. Because even though he's a supportive husband, he's away on this trip when all the shit goes really south.
Yeah.
And
he's there for
how does the movie look differently if he isn't in New York for that, right? Like what support is he able to give? But of course that's not the point of the movie. Yeah, I thought this movie was an interesting kind of dichotomy for me, because there was like towards the sort of the earlier parts of this movie, and where around the areas where we get like Beth stabbing herself in the stomach and stuff. And I was like, man, I don't think I like this movie. Like, I found it really disturbing in a lot of places. And I was like,
it carries itself more seriously.
It does.
It comes across more like kind of some of the thrillers of the time, where there isn't necessarily straight up horror aspects, but they kind of get in your head and
they try and make you feel uncomfortable.
Hand That Rocks the Cradle, like it's got kind of that unsettlingness to it. Of like, ooh, this is ooh.
And then when we get into the back half. And the thing shit just goes wild. You're just like, okay, let's strap in. I'm back in. The first time I saw that baby puppet, I was like, oh shit, okay, we're in for a treat now for the last like 20 minutes of this movie. So
still, it doesn't put me off the beginning of the movie. I think that the disturbingness of it, the effects that are going on there, and kind of the tension that's coming from knowing that she's also going down this same path, I think really works and helps you take in the baby stuff at the end.
It just because I thought I was like, okay, it's gonna be like almost like when we see with Allison, because we're like, okay, the baby's gonna be born, and then it's just gonna be like maybe like end of film or like almost like The Omen sort of asks, like, that this baby is going to be bad because you've seen other people go insane from this baby. I was not expecting the actual baby being a murderer.
Murder baby?
Yeah.
Well, because you see the 2-year-old, right? Yeah. Like you see the DeWitt's child.
The 5-year-old. That's
the 5-year-old playing a 2-year-old, and she, right, like you get, as soon as you see her in the bathroom and she's just like standing against the wall giggling, I was like, okay, yeah, the baby did it, clearly.
Yeah.
But you get the sense that this is Children of the Corn, this is like evil, like omens kind of thing. But to expect the 1-day-old baby to be this like commando-esque serial killer, like Play-Doh monster,
Cape Fearing underneath the car.
Exactly.
It's like
wild. It goes off the rails, but in such a like fantastic way. I do also love at the very end, where Virginia has that little soliloquy about the new generation taking over and stuff, because it kind of avoids us having the plot hole. Not that it really would be a plot hole, but of being like, okay, what about all the other kids that like, because obviously this clinic's been going for a while. We know there's been successful births, right? Like the DeWitt's kid is 2 going on 5. And so I really like that, to just remind the audience of like, not only is like her horror story not done, but you have this generation of these sociopathic, super children.
Yeah.
So
Alicia's gonna grow up to become Ann Coulter. So I feel like all of these babies are gonna end up working for Fox News.
That's fair. Well, we know Virginia's ended up as Andrew Tate.
Exactly.
And if we've got Ann Coulter, wow, that's a pull. I mean, I suppose she's still going.
Her dad was a CIA agent, so it makes sense.
It does make sense.
Be involved in a weird, fucked up plot.
Is it Ann Coulter still around? Like, I remember her so much in the Bush years. I don't remember her after that.
She's still around. Kicking around. She's still haunting the White House.
Okay. Yeah.
Or like she's just like a skeleton.
Ooh.
Fucking
very spooky. Do they have like Ann Coulter tours? It's just like, it's like haunted White House tours, but like you go in and you're just like. And sometimes in this hallway, we see her ghostly blonde figure. On you go.
The fucking elevator opens, blood comes out, and she's standing there.
She's just like, immigrants are taking our jobs.
Yeah. And she's like, are you going down?
Ooh, all Muslims are terrorists. Woo!
Please don't cut out clips out of context.
All right. Yeah, we could. We could out of context our way right to cancellation.
This entire episode. Yeah. Even the stuff that we weren't being sarcastic about.
Yeah.
I just realized there's some knitting needles sitting right here.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. A baby comes out of the laundry room. Oh shit.
I didn't know how to explain this, but I was expecting.
Oh no.
I gave birth yesterday.
Oh no.
Definite recommend from me.
Yeah.
If you can stomach this sort of thing.
I recommend this to all pregnant women.
Yeah. I was gonna say
or all pregnant people, because
if you weren't someone who looked at the content warning and was like, oh yeah, this is gonna bother me too much, I would recommend it, especially for the second half, because again, it goes wild. Yeah, this is one where like, and I'm not much of a content warning person myself, right? Like, but I know my wife, she was like, so what's this movie about? And I told her, and she's like, I'm going to bed. So yeah, you can, if you've made it this far, well, you're either uncomfortable or you're not. So yeah.
No, it's it's on Tubi. I think it's on Shudder.
Yeah.
I think, did you say it was on Shudder?
No, it's not on Shudder.
It's not on Shudder, but it is on Tubi, and there is like a worse looking
like an old
copy. There's a worse looking copy on YouTube.
Although I do find the YouTube one does have its charm because it looks like a really shitty cassette that you put in, and like the whole 80s.
It's struggling. It's all dry and stretched out and shit, and music's dragging.
Yeah.
Nice. That gives it that cursed media feel about it. Yeah. Well, that was a rousing success. This is going to end up probably being our longest episode so far. But before we go, Josh, you wanna hit us with a little bit of a preview?
I will. Yes. So we're gonna have another guest. We have a new guest on next week, and she has picked out the movie for us. And I'm glad that she went with this one because we've mostly been staying in the genre of horror, and there are other genres that are encapsulated by exploitation and B movies and camp and all these things. So we made the first logical shift in genres from horror movie to rock and roll operas.
I'm looking forward to this already. All right.
It's like everyone's favorite 1970s rock and roll opera with a four-word title, Phantom of the Paradise.
Nice.
Okay.
So Brian De Palma's Phantom of the Paradise is going to be the next episode.
Right.
I've not seen this.
Okay. I've never heard of this.
Okay,
so this is going to be an experience.
I saw a trailer for it once at Propeller Arcade. They played before one of the movies. But this was a favorite of hers. So she's going to come on and we're going to talk about that one.
Fantastic. All
right.
All right.
I won't be here next week.
I am certain you'll be back.
Oh yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back. Like I said, I'm a leech. No, you know what? Not a leech. More of a parasite.
Yeah. Like some kind of like thing that just kind of like grows on or in you. And
tapeworm.
Yeah, I'm like a tapeworm.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm really losing weight.
Yeah. It's just me. Hi guys.
See, see you next time, everybody.
I'm sorry if I caused you or anyone else to suffer. Thank God that's all over now. We don't need mothers anymore.
Thanks for listening. If you haven't already, join the cult today by subscribing and giving us a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. Help us grow the cult by sharing it with your friends, family, and that chained up man you keep in your basement. Finally, you can connect with us on Facebook at The Video Cult or on Instagram and TikTok at video_cult666.